In this video, you'll build a TikTok Web 3.0 dApp with Next.js. You'll be building this on the Solana blockchain. We'll write your own program and you'll code up your smart contract. And what's amazing about this is you'll be using Anchor framework, which makes it so much easier to actually use Rust. Again, why we'll be using Solana for this is Solana is blazingly fast and it is a wonderful user experience. That's why this app is going to be on Solana. You'll use Cargo to compile and deploy your very own smart contract. I'll show you how to use Phantom Wallet to actually authenticate users so they can log in and log out of your app. Lastly, we'll take this app and deploy it using Netlify, and at that point you'll have your very own TikTok Web 3.0 dApp deployed and hosted on the internet, ready for anyone to be able to use. Also, I am super excited to actually share this with you guys. This has been weeks and months in the process. We have built our own CLI tool that you guys will now get to start using. I'm unbelievably excited about this. We published our own package in NPM. Nerdy things aside, what this basically means is you'll be able to write one line like NPX clever programmer and it'll get you set up with the entire project with all the assets. So you don't have to go and like get the images from somewhere else. You don't have to like download different dependencies on your own. This will just install all the dependencies and everything taken care of for you. So I'm especially excited because you'll get to do that in this project. With that said, go ahead and smash that like button, break that thing right now, and subscribe to the channel because this is a channel where you become a better Web3 developer. So I hope you're excited. With that said, I'm gonna get out of your way and I'm gonna let your instructor, Lance, take it away and get you started on this build. Lance, let's go.
Welcome to the TikTok demo. Lance here, let me show you guys around. So when you first open your app, you're gonna see this page right here. All this means is that you need to select your wallet. And of course, we're gonna be using Phantom because this is on Solana. So as you can see, Phantom's detected. I'm gonna connect my wallet, bam. And all we need to do now is just pick a username for yourself. So I'm gonna use Kazi's name for this one and let's get a profile image. At the moment, we set it up so that we're gonna use Dice Bear to get all our avatars. So if I go here, we can create our custom profile by writing in a seed. So if I just put Kazi, this is what it thinks Kazi or generates for Kazi. So very beautiful. Let's take that SVG and paste it onto here. And let's just click sign up. So every time we do something on this app, you're gonna see the Phantom wallet here ask if we can approve this transaction. That's because everything we do is gonna be stored on chain. So let's hit approve and bam, there we go. We are logged in on TikTok. And how do I know? Because if I scroll down, you're gonna see all these different TikToks by different people. As you can see, D-Rack, we got Lance here, we got another Lance one here. And if I press play, how awesome is that? And you can see on each of these, there's different comments like this one, right? So if I look, there's comments, there's our boy Kevy Kev, awesome. And another cool feature that you can do is that you can actually add a comment. So thank you. All right, I'm logged in as Kazi. I'm gonna go hit reply and let's leave a comment. And like I said before, even the comments are stored on chain. And after a couple seconds, bam, there you go. There's Kazi's comment over there 40 seconds ago. How awesome is that? Cool. And you don't have to worry because all of this is on the dev net. This is not the main net, so you're not going to lose actual Solana by storing these comments on chain. The purpose of this video is to show you guys how to develop on the Solana chain. So we can leave comments, and not only that, we can go ahead and click this little heart and let's drop a like. And bam, look at that. So the heart turns red and there's a beautiful 3 right there. So that's pretty sick. We got comments, we got likes. But guess what? That's not all. We can also upload your very own TikToks onto your app. So let me show you guys how to do that. All we need to do is click this plus icon right here, and you're gonna see this model for upload new video. That's what we need to fill in now. So to get a TikTok video, of course, let's go to TikTok, and I'm gonna go to our clever programmer TikTok, and let's pick a random video. Let's do this building chess app right here. What you need to do is right click this, click copy video address, head back over to your app, and you can just put any description you want, building chess app in React, right? And then paste that video URL and let's hit create new. Awesome. And all we have to do is hit approve again. And bam, there it is. This is the video I just uploaded, and you can see it's uploaded by the username that's logged in, Kazi. So how cool is that? You can put your very own TikToks on a website that you created. So that's enough demo. Do you guys want to build this? Let's head over to the tutorial. And just like Kazi said, this is gonna be on the Solana chain. So I'm pretty excited. One thing I wanted to mention, I love making these projects so that you guys can have cool stuff for your portfolio. one thing that you could do to make it better, it would make me really happy, is to go in this code, change all of it, understand how it works, and make it your own, right? Let's say you don't want to make TikTok. Maybe you want to make your own version of TikTok. This is a really good launching point to do that. Enough of my rant. Let's get started with the build. So over here, you'll see that I have my terminal open. And one thing that I'm happy to announce is that Clever Programmer has their own CLI tool. So if you guys just do npx Clever Programmer now, you're gonna get the TikTok project, like the starter files that we need. So no more creating Next.js, no more install dependencies or looking for the repo to get it working. You're gonna have everything you'll need. The only thing I'll need to ask from you is double check on your terminal for node-version. Yeah? Cool. And notice how I have 16. So our CLI tool is gonna work on version 16 and up. So if you're version 14 or 12, definitely update it. If you're watching this from the future, this might be a little bit different when you run this command, okay? So if you're with me in the present, do npx Clever Programmer, and let's see. Boom. Awesome. So you're gonna see a couple questions. Enter your email address. I'm gonna say Lance Clever Programmer. And for my name, I'm gonna hit Lance. Beautiful. Cool. And look at this. How cool is this? When it says, what project would you like to initialize? At the moment, it's just TikTok. But soon, we're gonna have all the other starter files for each project going forward. So it's gonna make all of our lives easier. So I'm gonna go ahead and select TikTok, and look at that. While you wait, smash that like button. And if you look at the front end, it's installing the dependencies. Boom. And I don't know if you guys saw that, but as it finished, it literally opens up VS Code and opens the project right away. So that is super cool. If I look at VS Code now, the front end folder is already set up. This is our Next.js app. If you look the yarn lock file, you're gonna notice all the packages that we have installed is already in here, and the package.json as well. Right, there's Solana, wallet adapter, Axios, JavaScript time ago, React icons, all of it is in there. And guess what all you have to do was write npx Clever Programmer. So with that said, setup is done. Okay, cool. So all I did so far was X out my terminal and made this a little bit bigger because we're no longer gonna need it. I can just use my integrated terminal. One thing I wanted to mention, with our CLI tool, we essentially just did a git clone. So if you wanna push this, you're gonna see that you don't have permission. What I'm gonna do right now is show you guys how to create your own repo, and any changes that you wanna make on here will now be pushed to that repository. So how do we do that? All you have to do is just open up your browser. So go to github.com, and I'm gonna go ahead and make this bigger, and let's just create a new repository. Okay? You with me so far? And again, there is many different ways to do one thing. If you have your own way, go for it. I'm just gonna make a new repo and connect this to it. If you're new, for my beginners out there, feel free to follow along. So all I'm gonna do is do a TikTok Solana. That's gonna be the name of my repo. And for now, I can just do create repo. Boom. So you're gonna see this page, and it's gonna show you, give you insight on how to set it up. But what we could do here is head over back to your VS Code, right? And I'm gonna click Control B and Control J or Command J if you're on Mac. And all you guys need to do, I'm gonna just fix this up. All you guys need to do is just git remote set-url origin. We're gonna change the remote origin of this one to now be connected to the new repo we just made. So go ahead and copy this link. I'm gonna hit copy, and I'm gonna right click, and there you go. I'm gonna hit enter, boom. So now it's connected. How do I know? Because now if I try to push, so let's make a small change. All I'm gonna do is add a space here, hit save. And if I do a git status, you can check the changes that you made. I modified package.json, cool. And if you're okay with that change, just do a git add dot to add all changes. And then you just do a git commit. I'm gonna say set up own repo, okay? And then I'll just do a git push, and now you shouldn't see permission failed or anything like that, because now it's directly connected to the one we just created. Boom, so git push, awesome. And if I hit refresh on here, look at that. And here's my comment, set up on repo. Essentially, you forked the project that we created. And as you can see, our boy David, who originally created the project, is a contributor. And now you're free to just add whatever you want to this. So that's how we're gonna be developing. Once that's set up, we can actually set this up to Netlify now, right? If you don't know, Netlify is a website that can host your static apps. One thing we can do is connect our GitHub repo, so that every time I make a change, it's gonna redeploy it live. So it's always gonna be redeployed. We don't have to set it up once we do it for the first time. So if that sounds cool to you, let me show you guys how to do that. Awesome. So once you clear a terminal, the first thing you want to do is an npm install netlify-cli-g. If you're wondering what this does, we're just installing the CLI tool from Netlify globally, so I don't have to go on the website and set things up. I can just do it all from the comfort of my command line. So I'm going to do this and hit enter. I already have it installed, but I want to do it with you guys. Okay, cool. So once that's done, all you guys have to do now is if you type in the word Netlify, you're gonna see a list of commands that you can run with this CLI tool. We see init, which we're gonna use later, build, API, add-ons. There's a bunch of different things you could do. You can even set up environment variables through the CLI. What we want to focus on is initializing our site, right? So I can shorten our command. Instead of saying Netlify, I can say NTL, and then I'm going to say NTL login, right? I'm going to hit enter. And for me, I'm already logged in. But for you guys, what might happen is on your browser, the Netlify website will pop up and it's going to prompt you to log in. I highly suggest you connect it to GitHub because it's going to make this next step a lot simpler. So make a Netlify account with them, make an account with them by just hopping to your new tab right here. And all you have to write is ntl.fyi/clever. And you can go ahead and sign up with them if you don't have an account. Nice, cool. So once you have an account and logged in, you can go ahead and exit out. What you need to do next, right, after I clear this, is just gonna be an NTL init. What this does, it's automatically sets up a Netlify website, and I'll show you guys in a second. NTL init, boom, so look at that. So now it's gonna ask you connect this to an existing Netlify site, or just make a new one. So we're making a new one. I'm gonna hit this one, and now we can give it a name. I'm gonna go ahead and select create and configure a new site because we're making a new one. Awesome. For the team, just select enter, and then now here's where you can name your website. So this will be the URL that people type in to get there. So for me, I'm just gonna say TikTok Solana. Awesome. So there isn't any other ones called TikTok Solana that I have, so it went through. For the base directory, make sure it's front end, especially if you used our CLI tool, because that's where our next app lives. Hit enter, and we used yarn. So what you need to write in this section is yarn run build. And for current directory, you can just hit enter for this. For Netlify functions folder, hit enter. And now we just say yes, because we need this plugin, and boom, adding deploy key, cool. So now it's hooked up to our GitHub repo, and every time I hit push, it's gonna deploy the site. So what we could do to just test this out, let's run it again, do this and make that change, take out that space, hit save, go through the process of setting up Git again. So if I do a git add dot commit -m, removed spacing from package.json, and let's do a git push, okay, boom. We can see those changes on our GitHub just like normal, remove spacing from package.json, and then we head to Netlify. We can make this guy a little bit bigger. I'm gonna hit login, and there it is. There's TikTok Solana, and you're gonna notice that it failed, right? The reason why it failed is because there's some things we gotta set up on this, and what we could do is go to deploy settings, go to environment, and click edit variables. You could also do this on the CLI tool, but I'm just gonna show you since we're already on the website. What you wanna do at this point is gonna be in capitals, npm flags, right? Flags or flag, and we're gonna just put -force. Make sure this one is lowercase, okay? I'm just gonna check it's force, awesome. Because what you might run into is some peer dependency issues on the modules. This will just override that because you should just be fine, okay? Once that's done, I'm gonna go back to deploys, and let's do trigger deploy, and let's clear cache and deploy site. Cool, and now let's just wait for this thing to be finished and live. Oops, hold on, might be a mistake on my part. Let me go back to environment. I think this should actually be flags with it. Let's hit save. Now let's try this again. Okay, cool. Now let's wait for it to load. There we go. So you can see the -force is disabled. Now look at that. So the site is live now. So what that means is I can go over here and click preview if you want to preview the site, or we can hit deploys and just click on the link right here. So you can see TikTok Solana Netlify.app, and you can actually copy this link and send it to all your friends and show them what you made. Obviously right now it ain't much, but every time we push to our GitHub repo, this live site is updating, and that's the cool part about this. So with that said, Netlify set up, we have our repo ready to go. Let's get to coding. Before we move any further, I want to talk about the project. So what we're going to do is open up my little whiteboarding app. And as you know, we're coding this project on the Solana chain. And if you watched our Facebook video, you know that we use something called Anchor. And as a refresher, Anchor is just a framework where we can build secure Solana programs quickly. And if you didn't know, if you're more familiar with the term smart contract, that is the equivalent on Solana. Programs are essentially smart contracts. Yeah, cool. So with that said, Anchor underneath the hood handles a bunch of security checks that we don't really need to do, that we're gonna need to care about if we were gonna write this natively. But since we're running Anchor, it's gonna make that a lot easier. The main reason I'm using Anchor is because it creates an interface that we can use on the front end to call our Solana program. What does that mean to you guys? On our Next.js app, if I wanna be able to create and upload a video, I'm gonna need to talk to my Solana smart contract to create that video. And it makes it really easy with Anchor. You with me so far? Another prerequisites to this is 1, you have to be able to install the Anchor CLI tool. And lucky for you guys, if you did npx clever programmer, you're going to notice this folder called TikTok clone. This is actually the Anchor build itself. So that step is already done for you. But if you wanted to do this on your own, one thing that I like to share with you guys are these links right here. All right, let me just clean this up a little bit. And we'll also provide these links in the description, but essentially this is how we can get started with installation. And if you wanted to learn about any CLI commands, this is where you're gonna go. And as a disclaimer, by no means am I saying I'm a developer expert on Solana. What I wanna do is get as much practice as I can, and whatever I learned from building these amazing projects for you, I want you guys to be able to take away and learn on your own. So what that means is if you're watching this and none of this is making sense, watch it over and over again and take what you do understand and build something that you're passionate about, because that's how you really understand. My goals with these builds is to essentially be a launching pad for you to create really cool projects and maybe learn something along the way. Cool. With that said, one benefit that I want to show you guys is we can use the Anchor CLI tool to write a program, but if the setup is really difficult for you guys, Solana made something really cool and I'm about to show you guys. There is a tool out there where you don't need to install Anchor at all. All you have to do is type in this beta.solpg.io, hit enter, and as you can see, let me make this bigger. If you guys are familiar with Remix at all, if you're coming from Solidity background, this is essentially the remix for Solana. What that means is I can write my smart contracts on here, deploy them, build them, and test them all on the browser, which is amazing, so that if setup is an issue, this is gonna be the way to go. So what I'll be doing for this tutorial is creating the smart contract on Solana Playground. That being said, I'm excited for this build. I want you guys to take your time with these concepts that I'm going to be talking about today. And for my Anchor experts, my Rust experts out there, if there's any, improvements that I could do, feel free to leave a comment down below. I'm always wanting to learn more, just like you guys. So with that said, let's go. Awesome. So this is the Solana Playground. Like I mentioned before, this is a place where we can write the smart contract of our build. So we're going to start with this first and build out the whole smart contract. And another benefit about doing this is that the tests are really easy to do. So once we make a function, I can just test it right away and see if it works. Cool, so let's get started. One thing I wanna do is set up any additional libraries that we're going to need. Awesome, so the Anchor prelude comes by default. Another one that we're gonna need to do is a use, right? This is how the equivalent of an import in JavaScript. We can say Solana _program, entry point, program result. Okay, that's one that we're gonna use. Another one that we're gonna use, we're gonna say use std mem : size of. This one is important because with Rust or with Anchor, they really care about the size of everything. Unlike JavaScript, where you can put like in a massive array and it wouldn't cause any problems. The reason for this is because Rust is a lower level language and error handling is a lot easier if we know exactly the size of everything, and we can do that by using this library right here. Cool. Other than that, let's do another use Anchor. Let's see, Anchor lang, I believe. And then after that, it's : Solana _program log brackets sol _log compute _units, right? This is going to help us log our units. This is essentially important for budgeting when it comes to how much Solana are we spending for the smart contract, right? Don't worry about that too much. These are all the libraries that we're going to be needing to use, right? Over here, this is the place where we're going to declare our ID, or in other words, our program's address. So by default, when you use Solana Playground, it's going to be all these ones. But once I hit this build button, it's going to generate a new program for us later. Okay, cool. Now I just want to take this time to go over the anatomy of an Anchor project and explain to you guys to the best of my knowledge. So if you see this hashtag bracket program, you can think of this as what Anchor uses to define what a Solana smart contract or program is, right? So this is the name of our smart contract. By default, it's called Hello Anchor. And if you see this pub fn, you can look at that as a function if you're coming from JavaScript. So what is this function? It's initializing, right? Here are the parameters, right? Its context is initialized, which I'll get into in a second. And notice how it talks about it's going to take in a parameter called data. And this is the data type, an unsigned integer that's 64 bytes. Okay, cool. And then it's going to take in a result. And here is the logic for that initialize function. So you might be wondering, what the hell does this mean? Well, essentially, context is essentially the state. So if we come down here, you're going to see something called pub struct initialize. What that means is I'm creating essentially initialize object, and I'm defining the characteristics of that object, right? So you can see pub new account is going to be account, and the signer is the user that is associated with the program, and the system program is the program, and it also brings in all the information about it. That's what it is on a really high level, and that's what I'm going to be using to explain to you guys coming in from JavaScript or our old builds. Okay, cool. Notice how we have another pub struct here, right? Like I said, if this is creating a new object, this is essentially a class, and here are the properties. It's going to take in data. Cool. So that's essentially on a high level the anatomy of an anchor project. I'm going to be morphing this to what we want out of this build. Cool. So like I said, if this program is telling us what a smart contract is, then this mod is essentially all the instructions that we want our smart contract to do. So at the moment, you can say that this smart contract, we can initialize something. If you understand that, let's go ahead and think about what I want to do for this app. All right, so I'm just going to make some space here to separate it, and let's go ahead and delete this. Cool. So the first thing I want to do is pub fn create underscore user. So if I were to ask you guys, what does this function do, or what do you think it does? It's just going to create a user. Create a user for what? For my next app, right? For TikTok. This is creating a user on TikTok, okay? If that's the case, it's just gonna be like normal where you make this a function. And the difference if you're coming from JavaScript and going into Rust is I'm gonna make this arrow here, and then I'm gonna say program result camel case, right? This is the library that we're importing. You can look at this is what is this function returning, right? On a very high level. So I'm gonna do something like this. And what I can write in here is gonna be the logic of how do we wanna create a user. So just like any other function, this function is gonna take a couple parameters. And with Rust, you need to define what is the type that you're expecting from the parameters so that error handling is a lot easier. So if I say something like ctx, right, that just means context. And context is essentially a container that holds the data that we define on this program. So what I'll do is I'll write everything out and I'll talk about it a little bit after. So ctx is all you need to write here and put a colon, and then you're just gonna write context, create user, right? Then you have a comma here because there's a couple more parameters that I want to add, and it's going to be name, and that's going to be string, and it's going to take in a profile URL, right? So what I want to do later in TikTok is you can sign up and put in whatever name or username that you want. And I also want to give you guys a nice profile image that you can attach to it. So that's why it's going to take that in as a parameter. So profile URL, and then that's also going to be a string. Cool. Awesome. With that said, ctx here is the parameter. You're probably wondering what is create user. So before we move any further with this, if you're wondering what create user is, it doesn't exist yet. We haven't made a struct, or in other words, class that defines what a create user object is. So what we can do is actually edit this one. So we still need this here, hashtag derive accounts, because if you remember the word accounts in this case, it's essentially like data stored on the Solana network. It's a trait that we can add to this object or class, whatever. So whatever struct I create after this line is going to inherit all the qualities of it. So enough jibber jabber. I'm just going to start coding. What I'm going to do here is for this struct, I'm going to write create user, right? So now when I pass in a create user object, you know what I'm talking about. Also, you're going to need this info here. It's essentially what's called a lifetime variable. If you know what Rust is, that's something that's common within that language. Okay, we're gonna need this here to get all the information about create user. And then when you come down to here, this hashtag account, this part alone is essentially an attribute that can define specific behaviors for our account. So for example, I'm saying the payer is the signer, which is essentially the one who created the contract, the wallet that's associated with that. And there's something that's space equals 8 plus 8. That's essentially saying how much space is this taking, okay? Like I said, space is very important to know for this code. So what I want to do is let's edit this. Cool. So the changes I want to make is a little something like this. I'm just going to format it because there's a couple of things I want to add to it. Cool. So we're still going to need init here. Another thing that we're going to add is something called seeds. Essentially, you could look at this as a hash, and whatever I put here will help generate a unique hash. Right. Later down in the video, I'm going to be talking about something called DiceBear. And what this does is let you create an avatar based on whatever you type in here. So take a look. If I do blah, 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 I get this randomly generated avatar based on what I wrote. So if I say Lance, this will generate this, right? So without getting too low level or complicated, if I go back to the Solana playground, whatever I put in this array is going to generate a unique hash or seed. So what we can do here is input a bunch of information that will help generate that. Okay. So don't worry too much about what I put here. That's just mainly the main purpose. So what I'm going to write is b as ref, lowercase. After that, let's add a comma because I also want to put authority.key parentheses dot as underscore ref. Okay, cool. Another thing I'm gonna add is a comma right after this and put something called bump. So adding on to what I said earlier, whatever I put here will generate a unique hash. If that hash already exists, what bump will do is basically add like a number or two. I believe it does it like 20 times until it checks if that unique hash is used or not. So that's why we got to add bump here. Cool. So that we can ensure we have a unique hash. After that, the payer here is actually going to equal the authority. If you didn't know, the authority is the one that is going to allow us to upgrade our contract. Basically, whoever the address is associated with making this program. So we'll do that as the authority. And then for the space, it's not going to be equals 8 plus 8. What it's going to be though is size of the user, right? That's created. So let's just say user account, then parentheses, and then we're going to say plus the user, right? The space of this is going to depend on the user that's logged in on his name. So if my name is Lance, or if my name is supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, right? We need to add that as the space. Great, so the username.length and also the underscore URL length, then plus 8. Okay, cool. All right, off the bat, you're already gonna say like, Lance, this doesn't exist. Where are you getting this from? There's a couple things we have to do also. So what I mean is coming back up to the top here, underneath the declarity, let's add some space. Like I said, we're gonna need to essentially hard code how much space we're gonna be taking for each thing. All right, so in this case, we need to determine how long can users make their name and essentially how long can the video URL length be. So if I write const user underscore name underscore length, right, I have to determine how big it will be. So if I say colon, I'll say it's a use size of about equal 100. So this kind of equates to roughly 1 character, right? So this is how long the username. How long do we want the video URL to be? Well, we can say const video underscore URL length, and let's give this a size of about 225. So if we try to input a size that's longer than this, it's not going to work. I'm literally saying how much space that this account's going to be. Does that make sense? Cool. All right, so I'm going to be coming back, jumping around and adding more essentially constants for each thing. So while I'm here, let's make another const, and this one is going to be the user underscore URL underscore length, all right, which is also going to be the same as the video length, so 225. So essentially doesn't matter which one we put here, video URL length or user URL length, because it's supposed to be the same size. And again, this const user URL length is going to represent the URL that we get from this. So if this is my URL, it can only be 225 characters long, which this is plenty with this. Awesome. So just in case you guys forget, this is going to be username length. This one just contains the user profile image URL length. Cool. Awesome. All right. So that's essentially all we're gonna need to authenticate the user account. The next thing I wanna do is basically define the attributes of a create user, right? Are probably not needed. So let me just start fresh. I'm just gonna code it up and then talk about it, okay? So what I'm gonna do is pub user, say account brackets info. Cool. So I'm essentially saying the user is going to be all of this information, right? This user account here and this user account here isn't just essentially another struct that hasn't been created yet. So we're going to get to that. What would a user object look like? But right now we're dealing with create user. So the next attribute, we're going to need to do the hashtag account and just make this mutable. When you see something like mute here, MUT, I'm saying that this could be changed. Essentially what I'm trying to set up is this. I'll say pub. The authority is going to be whoever the signer is. Okay, I'm going to add this comma. Boom. And then I'll just make a little comment for me and for you. This is essentially the authority, or in other words, this is signer who paid the transaction fee. Because anytime we store something on chain, there's going to be some transaction fees. So I'm just saying who's ever paying for it, this is going to represent who's paying for it. Okay, so now I'm going to move a little bit more quicker now that you guys are starting to get used to the flow. I'm going to say pub system underscore program is going to be an unchecked account, and of course we're going to put in this lifetime variable here, info again, okay, which is essentially a simple test account for TikTok. Okay, cool. So next step, what I want to do is just say pub clock, and it's just going to be sys var this and say our info again, and I'll say clock. Essentially we're going to use this clock to save time. Cool. And with that said, this is our create user struct. Awesome. using this same pattern, we can actually make the user account struct. Let's define what is a user account look like. And maybe that will make more sense to you guys. So coming down before here, we don't need this. If I'm just gonna edit this, I don't need the hashtag derived default, but I will be using the hashtag account again here. And the name of this struct is, like I said, is gonna be user account. So what I'd ask you guys here is what would be if you were making a schema or an object in JavaScript of what a user account would look like, what would be some properties that you want to keep track of? What I'm thinking is pub user underscore name. What is their username? And what would be the data type of it? Exactly. You got it, Mohammed. It's a string. Right? I don't know if your name is actually Mohammed, but I hope that you guys like realized and looked. So shout out to Mohammed out there. Okay, so that's the username. All right, what's next? I also want to keep track of pub user wallet address, right? Essentially, what's the wallet address of the user? So this one can just be the pub key, or sorry, pub key like that, okay? Lastly, remember what I said earlier, we're gonna be storing that user's name. So if it's me, it's Lance, and also the nice profile URL that we get here. So for this, I'm just gonna say user underscore profile underscore image underscore URL :string. Okay, so this is essentially the behaviors or what can we expect when I say user account. And if I wanted to access any specific properties of that later in my front end, I can reference it using this. So I hope that makes a little bit more sense to you, because now this should be a little bit more clear, right? When I create it, go ahead and create a user object, right? I'm gonna take into account what is a user account. And for the space of it, I want to check what is that user's name, that length, then the video URL, that length, or like I said, it could have been user URL length as well. Cool, so now it should be all connecting together slowly. Awesome, so now that's set up, we can go ahead and write the logic of the create user function, and it should make a little bit more sense to you when I start typing this out. So in the create user function, if I want to be creating a user, let's say let user is going to equal this. Okay, cool, so let's break this down. I'm saying in this function, there's gonna be a user variable, and it's gonna equal this and mute. So remember what I said earlier, mute, make sure that this can be changed depending on when I call it, where I call it. What am I calling that? What am I making mutable? This CTX, right, from the parameter, and it's grabbing the context of create user. So get the context that I need, go into the accounts, which again is just the data stored on the program, and get me the user. And once you get that, store that into the variable, and that's gonna represent the user. All right, you with me so far? Cool. Other than that, let's set up the authority. So what I can do is say user.user underscore wallet underscore address. All right, so if you think about it, what is user underscore wallet? Where is this coming from, this property? Well, remember what we just did. If you see the highlighted, it's coming from here. All right, so that tells me that user is referencing this struct, and I'm referencing that user's wallet address. Cool. So that user's wallet address, I'm going to set it equal to the context, right? The data that I have stored, .accounts.authority.key, right? Essentially, I'm setting the authority key as this user's value, right? The value of this. I set the value of the wallet address to be what I get from here, which is exactly what it is. Okay. In other words, I just set up the authority. Awesome. All right. So the next thing I want to do is, if I write running comments, let's set the text. All right, so set the text. Let's move a little bit faster now. User.username is going to equal name, right? User.username is coming from, once again, here, and I'm setting the value of that property to be the name. And what is the name? It's going to be whatever I passed in. So imagine me later in my front end, I'm going to be calling this create user function, and I'm going to be passing in Lance, and I'm going to be passing in my URL that I get from here. All right, so that's what I'm doing, setting it equal to there. And then from there, let's do a user.user underscore profile underscore image underscore URL. It's gonna equal, you guessed it, this, whatever I passed in as my URL. Awesome. All right, so take a second, you tell me, what does this mean? So if you were able to explain it, I think you're getting the hang of this. So that's essentially all the logic we need to write. All we need to do now is write something called message exclamation point, and we're gonna say user added. You can look at this as the equivalent of console logging on a Solana program. So if I put a comment here, this is just logging it, right? Cool. After that, remember this where it's gonna compute the units, right? I just wanna make sure I'm gonna do that here. So I'm gonna say Solana log underscore compute, underscore units, and call that function. All right, in short, this essentially is also logging, right? But it's gonna log how many compute units are left. If you're wondering why I'm doing this, it's important for the budget, because remember, it's all based on who the signer, who the authority is. So this is gonna help, okay? One last thing is you wanna, and it's kind of unique to Rust, you wanna add this okay, right? Here, which essentially, it's essentially saying that if all this runs, the function has passed. Cool. So we're going to be adding this okay to every single function. But with that said, that's the create user function. That wasn't too bad. So let's go ahead and go over here. And you're gonna notice build and deploy. All I want to do is build, and what I do with build is you can see any errors that come up if I wrote something wrong or you get any warnings. So let's try build and let's see what we get. Yep, here we go. Already have some errors, and that's because, quick thing to note. Right, you can see starting from line 16, it's expecting a semicolon, right? So in JavaScript, we can get away without putting any semicolons, but any other language like Java or even Rust like this, semicolons are pretty important. So cool. Let's see if that fixes the issue. Let's hit build again. Okay, cool. So now the issue is on line 33, this sysvar thing. I might have typed it wrong. Pub struct sysvar info t. Oh, I see. So after looking around, I realized that it should be more like this info instead of the backtick. Let me just add that in there. And anytime I see info, I should put this like that. Boom. So now it's actually the right color. That makes more sense. So now let me try building. Okay, cool. Okay, let's build this up. Cool. Okay. This has a problem with my compute units, probably because semicolon again. Let's see if that gets fixed. Going back to here. Unchecked count. I see another info that I missed. Awesome. All right, so let me just hit refresh because this is getting hard to read. Cool. All right, so now that's done. Let's go back to this. And if I refresh, notice how it still saves everything I coded up. That's because whatever you write here is just cached on the browser. If you wanted to reset it back to default, just clear your cache. Okay, let's hit build. And awesome. So I only see, oh, okay, we actually got a couple errors. Expected more semicolon issues. Yep, that's one right there. And of course, another one right here. All right, so I'm gonna take a moment to get all the semicolons done, and I'll let you guys know if there was anything interesting that I see. Username, that's a semicolon. 54, size has issue with size of. Oh, I see, that's because this should actually be underscore. And if you see warnings, don't worry about those because it's just letting me know that's unused. So let's do a build again. All right, so build as reft. Okay. Oh, I see. I just forgot to put the parentheses here. Might have done that somewhere else. Let's do build. Unexpected line 35. Yep, this should have a semicolon too. Let me just refresh this, get a little bit clearer picture. Yes, okay, cool. Finally. So yeah, I just added a bunch of semicolons and some typos here and there, which is expected sometimes. And if you just see warnings, we're good to go, right? Like for example, user URL length, I'm not using it in there. So Anchor is just letting me know like, hey, this isn't used. Other than that, everything seems to be working fine. Awesome. Deployment can only be done from the Playground wallet, right? Because Playground comes with the wallet. And when I want to deploy this, I have to be connected. So we can just hit connect for now. Let's also just save key pair because we're going to need that later. Cool. And I'm going to remember it because it's key pair 1. Awesome. So now I can deploy, but I don't want you to do that yet. I want to do deploy once I know that the build is stable and working. And if you come down to here, we can actually test all these functions we create once we deployed it. So for now, I'm just going to be checking it with build, and then I'm going to be testing the functions after it's all said and done. So this was like the trial run, try to get you guys familiar with the anatomy. But from this point forward, I'm going to be moving forward like faster and not explaining everything as much. Sounds good? All right, let's keep up. All right, so one of the first things I want to do is come up to the very, very top here, and you see this mod hello anchor, right? That's not the name of my smart contract, right? What I want to call this smart contract is TikTok underscore clone. You can name this whatever you want, but this is what I want. Okay, cool. Now let's go ahead and make our next function. So that was kind of just a quick demo on what the anatomy of an anchor project looks like. So hopefully I didn't scare you away too much and you clicked off the video. But if you're still here, amazing, you're taking that leap. So just to reward you guys, let's hop back into our build and let's get back to some nice, comfortable Web 2 stuff. So what I'm saying is, let me just do something like this. Make sure you're in the front end and we can X out all of these guys. Let's start working on our index. So let me set it up real quick. This is our beautiful Next app that we'll have like this. And how is that? Can you guys see that? Cool. So again, we don't need all of this starter file. So let's go ahead and clean it up. I'm going to go ahead and take out the head from here. We can keep the styles for now. I also just want to erase everything from here onwards until that closing div. Let's hit delete, hit save. And if you remember, this is actually our live version, which we'll check back in a bit later. I'll clean up this because it's our Netlify, and I'll clean up this because it's our GitHub. Cool. So if I press Control J or Command J, we'll get the terminal. And remember, since we're using the Netlify CLI tool, let's just do NTL dev. And what we'll do is just open up your local machine and open up localhost 8888, and we should see a blank project. Awesome. So now we're ready to get started. Let's work on the index. Okay, cool. The next thing I want to do is I'm probably not going to use this styles home module, And just so you know, we're not going to be using Tailwind for this. We're going to be using vanilla CSS because that's been a while. So what I'm going to do is change this not from container, but I think I should just call this app. And we don't, since I'm calling it app and I'm going to use this in our global CSS, I'm just going to say class name app. Awesome. So I just want to talk about how I'm thinking about this index, right? So if I'm making a app on the Solana chain, we're going to essentially need a wallet to connect to our app. So for this app, I'm going to be using Phantom wallet. So I want to set some conditional rendering that if it's connected, the wallet is connected, we're going to load the main view component, right? Based on our ternary statement. And if we're not connected, what I want to do is load up some different JSX. So I'm going to say div with a class name equal to login container. Okay. And if I make that div, let's make a closing div. Awesome. And you're going to see the squiggly line. That's because this is commented out. If I brought it back in though, it looks a lot nicer. So let's leave it in for now. But because that component doesn't exist, we're going to comment it out later. Cool. So I'm going to quickly do this, set up another div, and let's see. This one I'm going to call class name login title, and we'll say log2. Because again, if the user is not logged in, I want this little like JSX that's going to represent a little thing that says the user should log in. So let's do that. Div right here, class name equals login subtitle. Cool. And then there, we just want to say manage your account, something like check notifications, comment on videos, comma, more. And if I do in like an Alt Z here, you should be able to see all of that in one line. Nice. Cool. Then there's a closing div. Awesome. And like I said, if I hit save, we're going to see some errors because main view doesn't exist. So let's go ahead and create it. So to create a component, all we have to do is come over to our front end and let's see, and just make a folder. Let's call it components. All right. And in this component folder, I'm going to hit new file. And let's say main view.js. Cool. And then when we make the main view.js, I'm gonna hit Command B and let's do our code snippet. This is an extension that I'm using. That's just gonna create a component like so. So if I hit save on the main view, it's all good and saved. And again, we don't have connected yet. So what I'll do is let's just temporarily make a variable called connected. And if we are connected, we should see the main view. So let's hit save. Main view is not defined. And guess what? That's because rule number one, if you want to use a component, let's import said component, right? Okay, so what I'm gonna do is write main view from that path. So it's ./components/main view. And look at that, main view is highlighted. And now if I hit save, hey, look at that. So main view is gonna load if my wallet is hypothetically connected. If I were to say false, we should see log on to TikTok. So let's just fix this and make it look a little nicer. Cool. So now that our index is set up, let's clean up our login. So like I said, I'm just gonna put this in our global CSS. So if I go to, not pages, to styles, let's go to global CSS. I'm just gonna add it onto here. Cool. So if I do Command B, can you guys see that? Yeah, cool. So let's do .app because that is like the main container. If you remember index, this is app. But the styling that I want to put for this is going to be a height of 100 VH because I want my app to take 100% of my screen, or in this case, the view height. Next, let's add a background, right? Background of hashtag 2C2D30. Hit save. Boom. That's the background for our TikTok. And then we're going to add display flex here because I want to use Flexbox for this. And then we'll do a justify content center and a align items center. Cool. So that's the CSS for the app. And if you want to take a look, if I go to localhost 3001, I actually have the finished project up and running. So this is what we want to get to. So I basically want to create a nice little square that has this text and this select wallet button right here. Okay. But if you look at where we're at right now, we're not quite there yet. So let's add a little bit more styling to our project. So if I remember, let's see, what's the next thing I need to style? It's going to be the login container itself. That is going to be this white background that you see here. So let's select it by saying login container. Then we can say background color is simply just white. Cool. Save. You can see it instantly reflected right here. Now, how do I get that square that I was talking about? Just say 350 pixels and say min underscore height hyphen height. Then we can say 300 pixels. So let's hit save. Cool. All right, so we're slowly getting there. All right, so now let's see. I want to format this in the right spot. So what I can do is use Flexbox. What I'll do is a display flex. All right, so anytime you want to use Flexbox, you have to run display flex so that you can start using it. So next, I don't want it in a row because that's what it is by default. So I can select the direction as column. So look what happens. It makes it back to the original column. But the main reason why I did this is because then I can do an align item center. Cool. Let's do a justify content, a space around. Nice. And we can do a border radius of 15 pixels. And now it's looking a lot closer to what it is, right? So now, as you can see, the manager account and check notifications is a little funky. That's because that one is gonna be the login subtitle, which might fix it. So let's go ahead and go back to there. So let's target the login subtitle. Login subtitle, I believe that's how we spelled it. Yes, it's correct. And let's make the font size of this, let's say 1 RE. Okay, cool, just to make sure. And then the color, I'm just gonna add hashtag 959595. Okay, and for the text align, because I want it more center, let's make it center. And let's add a margin top of -80 pixels. And I'm noticing it too, guys. It's not exactly moving. So let's see what's going on. Login subtitle. Is that exactly what I wrote? It is not. That's why. Okay, cool. So let's put it back to here because I think I wanted it like this. Hey, there you go. That looks more like it. So let's compare. Yeah, so this should actually be together, and that just might be because of the way I put the divs together. I just pressed Alt-Z again, so now it looks more like this. And let's see, yeah, I think I want it more like this. All I did was just make this capital and just change this spacing around here. What you'll notice is that it's not exactly like this. That's because once I add, Phantom Wallet button, the margin top -80 pixels will start taking in effect, okay? So for now, this is it. Let's go ahead and set up our Phantom connection. Okay, cool. So the next thing I want to do is we can go ahead and press Control B or Command B. And what I want to do is let's go ahead and set up a context folder. Don't make it in components. Make it at the root of your project, of your front end, I mean. And let's say context. Okay. What I want to do with this context is create a wallet connection provider. So let's go inside context and let's do a new file. And let's write wallet connection provider.js. This is something that we're going to need to do in order to set up Phantom Wallet with our app. And for now, since there's nothing that we're going to see in the front end, I'm just going to make this full screen. Cool. All right, so within the wallet connection provider, we're going to import a couple of things. So let's set it up like so. We're going to be importing the connection provider and something called the wallet provider. These are things that we're going to need to wrap around our app in order to get started with Phantom. So if you're wondering where this specifically is coming from, it's from, all right, let me do Command Control B here, from @Solana/wallet adapter-react. Okay. Cool, because if I go ahead and do Control B and click on package.json, right, this is where we're getting that library from. Cool. Now that you understand it, let's keep on moving. We got the wallet provider. If I do Alt-Z here, all right, we can see it a lot better. Awesome. So that's not all. We do have some more things to import. Like I want to import the wallet modal. So let's get the provider for that as well. Let's do the wallet modal provider from @Solana, /wallet/dash-react and UI. Boom. Right, like I said, this is just a modal that comes with this library that's gonna pop up when I press the button. Okay, cool. So next we want specifically the Phantom Wallet adapter, and that's gonna be coming from @Solana/wallet-adapter-wallets. Cool, I hope I spelled that right. Just double check. Dash, I wanna see the pop-up. Solana, okay. Another thing you wanna do is import in a React hook, which is just gonna be use memo, okay? And that's gonna be coming from React, of course. Cool, so after we import use memo, all we need to do is import something called cluster API URL from Solana Web3.js, right? Because when you're developing on the Solana chain, you could go to connect to different cluster URLs. So that means like you can connect to the devnet, the testnet, your local environment, or more importantly, if you want to upload this to the mainnet where you actually use, you could. For this project particularly, we're going to be going and working on the devnet. So what we're going to do is let's set up our wallet connection provider. We're taking that import provider and just make sure I spelled it correctly. Wallet provider. Cool. Wallet connection provider. Awesome. And then what we're going to do from here is make the arrow function, and it's going to take in 2 parameters on this case, which is just going to be children. Awesome. Cool. So within here, we're going to set up a few variables. One I'm going to call endpoint, and in this endpoint, we're going to use memo, right? And inside that memo, it's going to have an anonymous that is going to simply just call cluster API URL, and we're just gonna pass in devnet. So if you wanted to change this to mainnet at all in the future, like you're confident with your build, it's stable and secure, you can just say mainnet, or if you wanted to go to testnet, you could say testnet. So for, like I said, we'll be using devnet here, and over here, let's put a comma. Okay, yep, I was right, comma here, and then just empty array. And what I want to do next is set up another variable, which is going to be const wallets, right? And the wallets, like I said, is going to use memo once again. And what we're going to do is set up anonymous function again, which is going to return a new phantom wallet adapter. So we're making use of that library over here. All right, just add the parentheses because that's actually a function. And then we're going to do another comma array. Cool. And then from there, we just need to return all the providers so we can get it up and running. Let's do a connection provider and let's close that off. Boom. And here we can add attribute called endpoint, and it's going to be exactly what it is, which is just the endpoint const that we made. Right? I'm basically saying, let's use this to connect to the devnet. That's all that's saying. And then the next line, let's put in the wallet provider that we inputted. Cool. And what wallet do we want to provide? Like I said, we're just using Phantom. If you guys wanted to use different wallets or add more, you could do that through here. So I'm gonna pass in that, and we'll also put auto connect if it's connected, okay? Awesome. So now after that, I wanna set up the modal. So we use that provider, and it's gonna take in children, not capital children, because that is the parameter that's getting passed in. And after all this setup, we of course have to do an export default wallet connection provider. Save, and I'll just copy. Boom, save, and I just need this to remember this. So once that's done, let's head over to our app. All right, so to head to the index, what I can do is Control P, and not index, we actually need to go to _ app. Because in the app, this is where we need to import that provider and wrap it within our whole Next.js app right here. So we need that global, but we also need to import dynamic. That's just something we're gonna need for our wallet connection provider. And this is gonna come from next/dynamic. Then from there, we can also import at Solana/wallet adapter. Let's see if I can type it out. Adapter dash React UI. That's the one. And we want the styling, styles.css. Boom. So I import that. This can stay the same. Cool. And since we have dynamic, what I want to do next is come up to the top here, and then we'll do a const wallet connection provider equals dynamic, and then inside parentheses. Here, this is how we're going to import all of that context. So we're going to do arrow function, and then write import, and then write .. context / the provider. Cool. So then from there, we're just going to write this line SSR, and let's make that false. Awesome. And then from there, now we can safely wrap this with the provider itself. So I'm just going to add these parentheses here, and let's tab on this. And then on here, let's add the provider, wallet connection provider. Boom. Bam. Cool. That's a lot of spacing. So let me just format that. Awesome. So if I hit save here, now we wrapped our whole app with the provider. All we have to do now is actually add that button, because now we can use that. Okay. And then before I move on, let's go check in our little app. I'm just going to click on this. Expected. Oh, I know. Let me just take a look. Yes, this parenthesis should actually just go right down here. Beautiful. So if I look at the app again, yep, we shouldn't see any issues with that. So I'm going to make this smaller once again, so that we can actually see it. So now we have module not found. We should have the module, so I don't think it's missing. Let me just take a look. Aha, adapt React UI. Why don't you guys say something? All right, it's adapter. Save. Boom. Okay, so we're all good. And like I said, now we just have to hop back into index and import a couple things. So what I'd like to import is something called use wallet, right? And it's just a hook that comes from the Solana wallet adapter. Solana wallet adapter, specifically the React one, okay? And the last thing I want to import is the wallet multi-button, which is literally the button that I mentioned over here. It's the select wallet button. And once we add that, the spacing will look a lot better. From @Solana adapter wallet React UI. Boom. That looks good to me. Let's hit save. And check this out, guys. If I go in between these two divs, that's where I want to insert it. I'm just going to say wallet multi-button, and bam, there we go. There's a select wallet button. So let's give this a try. Let's see what happens if I click. Oh, actually, before I even get too excited, guys, remember how we had connected as false, right? This hard-coded attribute. If I put true, we're going to load the main view, or in other words, right? If I log in with the actual finished app, we see the modal. This is the modal coming to play. This is the wallet that is detected. I click on Phantom, put in your password, and bam, there is the TikTok, and this is what I call the main view, right? So if you look here, that's what we're supposed to see if connected is true, right? So now the actual variable is going to come into play, so I won't need that anymore. What I will need is to make use of the use wallet and get the connected from the use wallet hook. Basically, if the wallet is connected, this should return true, and then we'll see the main view. If it's not connected, load the login button. Cool. So, moment of truth, let's see if this works. Let's select wallet and let's hit Phantom. Hey, look at that. It's up and running. It's good to go. So now we're logged in. That is the Phantom wallet connection. And just in case you have no idea what I'm talking about, what is Phantom? If you go to Phantom, Google Chrome, you should see the extension here. And this is how you can get your wallet where you can hold your Solana, your other cryptocurrencies that are available. So just add it to your Chrome extension and you should be able to use the app. Sounds good? Awesome. This is super cool. Let's move on. Awesome. So now that you understand how this main view component is being loaded, one thing that you didn't get to see from me coding this is that there's a step in between. Like when you first log in, there should be a sign up modal that comes up if you don't have an account on the app just yet. Because I did, it loaded up already. So let me show you. If I go to my second wallet and I press refresh here, notice how it loads up right away because I already have an account. I don't need to see the login. It's connected and I have an account. But if I were to make a new wallet on Phantom, let's go to add connect, create new wallet, boom, wallet number 6. We'll see the login that we did before. And look what happens when I click select wallet, boom, the sign up modal appears. So all of this is located in the main view component. And if you didn't know from the demo, if I were to input something for the username and the profile image, it's gonna call the create user function from my Solana smart contract and create a user. And once that's done, it will then load the actual page itself. So if I were to make an account, and I can show you by switching back to wallet 1, and I hit refresh, sign up for a second, but it recognizes there's a user already, and bam, there is the TikTok app, right? So what we want to do now is let's set up that sign up code. So just to get you guys familiar with what it looks like, I'll just load up wallet number. Let's hit refresh. Boom, we're already connected with Phantom, so we don't see the login, but we don't have an account, so we see the sign up. So what I want to do now is come over here, press Control P or Command P, and let's go to main view. And this is the one where it's not just going to show up here because I'm not connected to that wallet. But when I log in, I want to see this. So there is a couple things that does go into main view. So we are going to be jumping back and forth from this and updating it as we go. Okay. So what I'll start is probably just the JSX of this. So let me just see if I can select wallet. Let's see. Let's get back to wallet number 1 so we can see it instantly. Okay, let's hit refresh on this guy. Phantom, boom. So we're back to main view. Now we can see this if I took main view out, hit save, boom, it's gone. So again, working on the JSX, one thing I want to set up, and it'll make more sense later, is a fragment here. And within this fragment, we're going to have another conditional rendering with a ternary statement. So this time we're going to be checking for is account, okay? And again, is account doesn't exist yet, but it will in a bit. Okay, cool. So basically, if there is an account, we want to be loading the TikToks, right? TikToks will go here if we do have an account. Difference is if we don't have an account, you can go to here, space this guy out, colon, parenthesis, boom. And you can put these guys back together actually. If we don't have an account, we need to load the sign up. So this is where sign up is going to go. So again, I'll set it up, sign, so cool. So now that sign up's here, if I hit save, we're going to see an error because one, is account is not defined and sign up isn't defined either. So let's temporarily add is account and let's say false because I do want to see sign up. And now we're going to see what I said, which is sign up is not defined. Yep, cool, which is totally fine. All we need to do to fix that is just make that sign up component. So I'm going to go to new file and I'm just going to say sign up. Okay, and now that I have the sign up.js here, take out that menu, we'll do our little code snippet, boom, and then within the sign up, we can hit save and then come back to main view and simply just import the sign up from, boom. So now it's there. Okay, let's hit save. Do I see it anywhere? Sign up should have the div in here. Where are you, sign up? Okay, cool. It showed up when I hit refresh. There it is. There's sign up. And then again, just like before, if I change is account to true, TikToks will go here. Yeah, is that simple enough? So let's bring it back to false and let's start making the JSX for signup. So this is what we want to eventually get into. So I can see the background color of this is definitely going to be white. It looks like we're going to have to separate this into a div, right? This into a div, and then there's a sign up button as well. So I'm going to go code that up now. Like I was saying before, we're going to be using vanilla CSS for this. So if I go to Control Command B, go to my styles. Let's go ahead and make a new file. The file that I want to make is going to be the name of the component. So that's the convention I'm going for. So signup.module.css. And since we're here, let's also do main view.module.css. Okay, so sign up, we can head over to there and let's just set up the classes that I want, because I already have them in mind and I want you guys to be able to see the changes as I go. Okay, I'm gonna hit Control B and let's just set up the classes, and I'm not gonna fill it out because again I want to show you guys. So that's the auth container. I'm gonna be using something called title, and I'm going to be using something sign up form. We're gonna be having an input field class, and after input field class, let's do an input title, and we'll do an input container. We'll also have input itself. We'll have I wrote input again. We're gonna do a login button, then we're gonna have a login button. Button. Cool. So again, I just selected all the classes, and reason being is if I hit save now, Command B, and I go back to sign up, and now I import styles from, then I'll say styles / sign up module.css. I'm gonna hit save, and now I can just freely add classes, and you won't see that annoying styles is not defined, or it'll be like login container is not defined. It's all gonna be there, and now I'm just free to make these divs. So here's the first div, and then this one will be the class name of that auth container. So style.container. Okay, so we have the auth container already. Go back to the sign up module. Let's take a look at what auth container is gonna have. So if I say auth container here, we can give this one a background color of, and if I hit save, you won't see anything because let's see if I add some words now. There it is. So now the background of this div is white, right? Cool. Well, that's what I have just for now. I'm gonna add the rest of the divs. Okay, cool. We just added a quick h1 with the class name styles. You just do Alt C, so that's easier. That's way better. Then another div here. This will be where our style.signup form goes, and within that we'll also have another div with the input. Okay, another one. This one will be input, and I'll have username in here. Cool. And that's its own div, which will be the actual input container, and it's like its name, it will hold an input, and inputs can actually be self-closing. I will give this a class name of input as well. That's what I set up before. Type will be text, and we're gonna have an on change here right later on. Let's just set it up on change equals, and we're gonna be using some state here, but we can comment that out for now. So closing div. Then we have a following div will be another input field, and this input field is gonna be for the URL. So this one will be style.input field, and then same convention as before, styles.input title. Scroll down. Okay, and this one will be, title for this will just be profile image. Oh, and I also forgot to put the colon on this guy. Awesome. And now that we have that, let's add the actual input container. Oh, and this should be style. Nice. The input container will contain an input, same as before, text. And again, there's also going to be an on change here that I'll put just to remind me, but let's also comment it out because I'm not using it yet. Okay, so then it's closing div, and then we need this little sign up button, styles.login, and there will be an on click here as well, but I'm just going to leave it blank for now. And again, the button is just going to say sign. Let's save. Boom, we're done, right? Imagine this is your sign up, but our goal is to make it look very pretty, just like this. Okay, so now for the fun part. Now that the JSX is there, to get it started looking like this, we just have to add some more CSS. You guys still with me? Cool, thank you for answering. So now let's just give this a min width. I'm thinking 25 rem, and then we have min height of 20 rem. Okay, now we'll have a display flex. Oh, let me just show you guys so you can see this. Display flex, because I want to use flexbox, and let's make the flex direction column. But look what happens if I save this. It looks like that. Once I put flex direction column, it's gonna put it back to how it was essentially, but you can control that direction with flexbox. Again, the main reason why I want to use flexbox is for justify content center, and also let's align it horizontally. We can do that with align item center. We can also add a little bit of padding, which will just be 1.2 rem. Nice. Let me see, is that the right size? Yes. Okay, cool. So now we have the padding, we have the background color. Let's also border radius something. 1A. Okay, we're getting there. The reason why it doesn't look as like the height doesn't look as the same is because once we add the button, it is going to take up more space and the padding will be taken into account. Yeah. Okay. So for the title is next. We'll give it a font weight of bolder. See how that looks. Okay. Didn't really change that much. Weight bolder. Yeah. I don't think this does much, but let me just make sure I have a title. Do I have a title? Okay, and yeah, I do have a title. Sign up to TikTok, but I think it's because it's the H1. It's already going to be bold already. But we can mess with the font size. I'm thinking let's make this one size 1.5 rem. Okay, cool. Yeah, so we're changing it back to this. I was thinking that was a little too big, but now it's about the same size. Okay, and just for fun, let's add a margin 0.3 rem 0. There we go. That's better in terms of spacing. And now we'll work on the sign up. Yeah, I liked making out the classes first and then building out with you guys so you could like literally see me changing it live. Okay, now we display flex. Awesome. Now you can see because this is the sign up form right here. And when I display flex this, it puts it into a row. And again, we don't necessarily want this to be a row. We just want to do display flex to start using flexbox. But by default, it always makes it row. Okay, back to normal. Let's do a width of 100%. Okay, and now the margin bottom will be 1.5 rem. There you go. Okay, cool. So don't freak out that the input is all the way to the left here. That's what we want to do. We're just gonna, when I get to the input part of this, we're gonna increase the width of it so it takes up all of this space. So don't worry, we'll do that next. So for input field, if I just do a width 100%, let's see what happens. Okay, I'll put input filed. Input, how do you spell it? Input field. Oh, I put dot dot. Okay, there was another input field somewhere. Oh, I see now. There is this again. So let me go styles, input filed, input field, and the dot dot again. Let's save. Cool. All right, so going back to this with 100%, let's just do a background color of, so there you go. So this is the input field that we're seeing here. It's the container, right? How do I know? Because if when I put a background color aqua, it made this whole background aqua. And because there's another import field div, this is also going to be aqua. So it looks like one block, but it's actually just two divs. Two divs with the same name and same styling. Cool. So that should be fine then. What we do want to do is margin bottom 1 rem. Hey, okay. Cool. So the spacing is starting to get a lot more clear. Now for the title, we also want to give this a width of 100%. Right. And again, you don't notice a change, but if I put a background color of red, right? What happens when I take out the 100%? Oh, okay, I guess I didn't change anything. But the background color is red and now it's taking up 100%. Oops. Oh, yeah, I guess I don't really need this then. What I do need though is a font weight. And let's make this 600. Okay, cool. Yeah, that is a little bit bolder. And now with the title, let's mess with the font size, which should also be 1 rem. Okay. And margin bottom will be 0.5 rem. Cool. Now we're going to mess with the actual input container. And if you're wondering what is input container, let's do like a green. There you go. This whole thing is the input container that holds the input, as you can see. Okay. And in fact, we actually do need to give this a background color because if you remember, this is the actual background color of the input. This is how we style inputs because by default, we get this ugly, old looking square with the outline, but we can change it up by just making the background color the same as the finished, which is FA-FC-FC. Cool. It's hard to see, but that should be the same color as this. Awesome. So what I'll do now is a display flex and let's add a border of 1 pixel and let's give that border an ECF1F4 solid. Oh yeah. Cool. So now it's a little bit more easy to see now that we have that slight border, but notice how this is annoying. When I get to input, we can remove that outline. What I do want to add is some padding though. For the padding, I want to do 0.6 rem and 0.4 rem. Boom. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere, right? So let's fix this eyesore. Let's give it a flex of 1. Oops. Oh, flex 1, none. And let me just see something real quick. Okay, that's weird. There should actually be 2 input fields, but when I did flex 1, it doesn't look like it. So let me just double check and troubleshoot real quick. Ah, okay. So on line 25, I have a styles filed input container, like I mashed it into one. So what I'll do to fix this is we have the field, we have the title, we need the input container here. Okay, there we go. That's a lot better. I'm happy with that. Now we can just go back to styling. So border none. Let's get rid of that annoying outline. And if you didn't know what outline is on input, if I click on this, that little black border that comes up, let's do an outline. No. Okay, so now when I click it, no. outline. And you can see how it looks. You can see the input still. It's not the same color, but if I do a background none here, boom, custom input field. I can still click this and I can still type in it. Super cool. I think one thing I'm missing is we want the round edges on the input field, and that should actually go on input container. So let's add that too. Okay, so border radius is going to be 1 rem. Border radius. Oh, nice. Okay, cool. I'm getting really happy with that. So let's start styling that login button. There's a couple of things for this. It's going to be background, and the color I have for you guys is going to be 4E4. Like I said, you don't always have to follow my colors and styling automatically. If you don't like how this is styled, I highly encourage you to style it on your own, right? Padding. So I feel like that's the best way to learn if you are making projects with us and making it your own, right? Instead of just mindlessly following. I think mindlessly following the tutorial is good if you're a beginner, just so you can get exposed to coding. But going back into the code and understanding it is definitely the way to go. I really can't spell radius for the life of me, but this is how you spell it. Now it's looking better. Okay, so for color, should be a nice white-ish color. And let's do a cursor pointer. Cursor pointer. Yep, now it feels like an actual button. And there's actually a little transition that I have where it changes. Let's see if it's working. All right, do you see that? The sign up button? Boom, it's really cool. Ooh, oops, clicked out of it. Yeah, so to do that, it's this cool little transition here. Oh, am I not logged in? Oh yeah, we already have an account on this. Let's get back to this wallet, or actually this wallet. There you go, cool. Like I said, cool transition when I click on it. It's just a nice little touch, which is just gonna be 0.2 seconds linear. Cool, so there's that transition. Then we're gonna do a max width of 500 pixels. Oh yeah, this guy needs to see it too. Okay, cool. Max width, 500 pixels. And what else? Oh, the min width. This is really gonna change it, 300. There you go, cool, awesome. Now I'm just gonna make sure the sign up looks a lot better. And to do that, we can just add display flex, right? You see something? Display flex. And let's do align items center. Okay, so if display flex is actually row, align items will now center things horizontally, vertically. And now justify content is gonna put that in the center there. Cool. From here, let's add a font weight of 800. Ooh, okay, nice. And then a font size, 1.2 rem. Ooh, that got way bigger. Nice. And I can already see the difference. It's like a spot to diff game, right? What's the difference? You guys see it? Yep, I know, I see it too. TikTok has a capital T here. Okay, cool. And again, we have the login button active, which is gonna activate that transition. And when that transition happens, I wanna see scale, 0.9. So test it out. Ooh, this feels really nice. All right, so that's pretty cool. Again, you can take any things that you learned. If you didn't know how transitions worked, if you're a beginner, you now know that you can do transform scale with an active state to do this. Nice. So that is the sign up to use TikTok. Cool. So the next step is I want to start getting this function working where we can create a user because we already have it written in our smart contract. We just need to hook it up into our front end. So at the moment, I can click this button all I want, but nothing is going to happen. So one thing that we're going to have to do first, there's a lot of setup involved when connecting it to your front end, but the first thing I want to do is probably make a new folder inside the front end, and we'll call this folder utils. All right, inside utils, we'll also have a file called const.js. All right, this is where our constants will go. And since we're not going to be doing any front end for a while, let's just go ahead and make this bigger. Okay, cool. Can the class see it? Yes, you can. Awesome. So now we're going to do an import the cluster URL, API URL again, from Solana Web3.js like we did before. And then we're also going to do the public key from there as well. Public key. All right, let's make this camel case. Okay, awesome. And then what we're going to do is export const, right? Solana, oops. Oh wait, we already did that already. We don't need to do that. What we need to do is export const TikTok underscore program underscore ID. If you guys are wondering what the program ID is, if I go back to my website, right, and I make this bigger, I'm on the Solana playground. When we first started, if you notice, this was 11111, but when I hit build, it generated a new program ID, which again is just your contract address if you're more familiar with that. Okay, so here I'm setting up a variable that has just that. So to do that, we're going to set it equal to new public key, and inside we're just going to paste that address. So I actually should have grabbed it while I was there, but we can easily just copy this. This is the program address, and we're going to hit paste right here. Boom. So that is our program address. Okay, cool. And another thing that we're going to need to do while we're here is, whoops, cancel that. While we're here is if you go over to here, one thing or one step that we're going to have to do often is after we deploy, we're going to have to export the program IDL. Okay, this is going to contain all our functions and our structs, all the information about our program essentially. Okay, and what I want to do with this is essentially click on this and it should open in VS Code. Boom. So you can see in the IDL we have the hello anchor name, the user profile image, right? That's the default anchor program. So that means this isn't the right IDL. What we need to do is actually deploy this now. Okay, cool. So this is good to know. So if I refresh and I hit deploy, or we're back to smart contract stuff. If I hit deploy, you're going to say initial deployment cost 5.24. And I only have 4 Solana, right? So even in the DevNet, you need Solana, but luckily on the DevNet, you don't need to pay for it. What you could do is there's a Solana Faucet, right? Somebody made this website where you can just get Solana easily. So I can just airdrop 2 and put in your address. So the address is going to be right here. So I just want to copy this. So I'm just click on this. This takes you to the Solana Explorer. Okay, this is taking a while. So what we could actually do is come over to here and let's click on, oops, we're connected again. Let's click on this wallet thing. Let's click connect to Phantom Wallet so we could just directly connect to my wallet. Cool. And I don't want to be wallet 6. Let's be wallet 1 because I definitely have some Solana in there. Cool. So now you can see this is the wallet. This is the new wallet address. And now it's easier for me to get it. And I should have plenty of SOL. But again, I wanted to show you guys, if you did want, you can just go to your Phantom Wallet, copy your address, paste it on here, talk about how much SOL you want. Usually I just do 2 at a time and click DevNet. Cool, successfully airdrop 2 SOL to that wallet address. So remember I had 15. So what do I have now? I have 17. Okay, so let's try deploying. Well, let's just do build and deploy. So I'm gonna build, just warnings, no errors, that's fine. And let's hit deploy. Oh, I see. It's because it still wants to use my Playground wallet. Well, that's fine then. That just means that we need to connect to our Playground wallet then. So I guess I do have to go back here. I want to see if I can actually just copy this without any issues. No, there can be a smart way to do this. Extra program credentials, program ID, we have that. Oh, silly me, how could I forget? The reason why it's taking a long time to load is because it should actually be DevNet. Boom, okay, cool. So you can see my attempts to build are here, but really I just want the address. Give me the address. And what I can do now is on the Solana Faucet, instead of my actual Phantom wallet, I'll put the Playground wallet, which is the authority to upgrade and deploy your smart contract. I'll hit DevNet, back to Sol Faucet, and now we have 6 SOL. I suggest just doing this over and over so that you have a lot of SOL and you don't have to worry about airdropping for a while. But since I'm building with you guys, I'm just gonna go ahead and hit deploy because we already built and see how it took the Solana. And now we wait. Boom, deployment successful. So now we should have a new IDL. So let's just double check that. Now it's IDL 3. I'll delete them later. But there you go. The name doesn't say hello anchor anymore. The instructions are here, right? User profile image URL and type string. Cool. And now we can see if I press Alt Z, create user, that's there. Awesome. Cool. So let me just go back to that VS Code. And what we want to do is take this IDL, right? Head over to here. All I did was hit copy, right? Copy. And in my utils, I'm going to make a new file and I'm going to call it ticktockclone.json. This is very important. Every time when I set this up, this is the name that I want to use. And inside this will be the IDL contents that you had before. Cool. So now in my utils, it's there. What I can do from here is go to const and import it. Okay, so if I want to import it, all I'm going to do is just say import TikTok from that path. So now it's there. And every time I say the word TikTok here, right, I'm going to say export const talk IDL. And again, this step is important so that we can use this to interact with our program on the Solana chain and just run the commands or instructions that we set up on there. Okay, cool. And that's going to be our const.js. All right, for my next trick, we're going to go back into the utils folder and let's make another file, which, oops, not folder, and make another file. And we're going to call it utils.js. Okay. And in utils.js, there's a couple things that we need to import. So what I'm going to import is import star as anchor from, this is the @project serum anchor, right? So we're going to import anchor here. And we also want to import something called wallet not connected error, right? From the Solana wallet adapter base. And then remember the things that we literally just set up, the TikTok IDL, and we also want the TikTok program underscore ID, which should also come from the const. Yep, TikTok program underscore ID. Amazing. And what we could do after that is let's set up a function. So the function that I want to create, and I'll make sure I export this one, it's called get program instance. So like I said, we need to, from the front end, get the program that's on the Solana chain. So that's the first step. So what we're going to need to pass is connection, right? And wallet. So what kind of connection are we gonna have and what kind of wallet are we using? So there you go, semicolon, curly brackets here. And all we're gonna write is, if there is no or not wallet.public key, then we want to throw a new wallet not connected error. Okay, it's just some error handling for the edge case. And if there is, then let's set up a provider variable, and that provider will have a new anchor, right? We're using anchor provider connection wallet. And let me just format this connection wallet. Let's see what else that we passed in, as well as the anchor provider default options. Yep, cool. Awesome. And still in that function, I just want to set up the IDL. Const IDL is equal to the TikTok IDL that we imported. And then this will have the address of the program, or specifically the deployed program. So here I want to save it as program ID equals TikTok program ID. So anytime I go back into my const and redeploy my smart contract, I just change this. And now it's dynamic, so when I do program ID, it'll be known as program ID. And we can also make a variable called const program, and that's going to be equal to this program client that we create from the IDL. So we're going to say anchor here dot program IDL comma program ID and provider. Yes, sir. And then last but not least, let's return that program that we just created. Okay, so set up everything, pass it in to the client or the CLI client, and return the program. Cool. I think this utils looks good. What I want to do now is set up our own custom hook. So if you didn't know, in React, especially if you're doing function-based components, there is something called hooks, which are essentially like superpowers or functions in React. We can actually make our own custom hooks. So what I want to do is let's make a folder in our front end, and I'm going to call it hooks, right? This will be where two of our hooks are going to go. The main one that I want to focus on, if I want to create a user, it's going to be a hook called use account, and that's just what I'm going to call this. Awesome. So with use account, there is a lot of things we need to import on this one. So bear with me. And we're going to import use effect hook, right? A common hook in React. And we're going to import token program ID. And this program ID is not the one that we created. This one is specifically going to come from the Solana SPL token one. We also want to import use wallet from the adapter React. Let's see. We're going to import get program instance from utils. That one we're getting from our utils, and that should be it. Another one probably is, if you remember, going back to here. Nope, I believe it is in here. We did this import cluster API. We're gonna do that again, but I just thought of a way to make it just a little bit more dynamic. So what I'll do is head over to const. Instead of calling this directly and then passing cluster API at devnet, this is what we could do. In const, we can set up another variable actually. We can say export, because I want to be able to use this, Solana host, right? This is just a variable to hold our devnet URL. So again, this is a good time to use this, right? You can say cluster API URL devnet, right? So here we go. We have a dynamic way to do this without manually putting cluster API URL everywhere. What I could do with this is the following. So if I remember wallet connection provider, I can just import Solana host. Right, so we don't need this anymore. We can just import Solana host from the const, and then instead of saying this, guess what? We can say Solana host. Right, with that same example, we can go back into use account and let's import Solana host again. That's the whole reason why we did this. I'll say Solana host and bam, boom. Okay, I keep saying noises. Boom, bam, boom. So after we do that, let's set up some variables here. We can do const anchor. This one we're going to be using require for. At project serum anchor. And then we can say const utf8 is going to equal anchor.utils.bytes.utf8. Okay, cool. So that's that variable set up. There's a couple more things. We want to destructure this anchor real quick and get the bn and get the web3 from the anchor object. And another one I want to get is something called system program, and that's going to come from web3. So yeah, we got web3 from anchor, and then we got system program from web3. Now we want to set up a variable here called default accounts, and the default account is going to be an object which has a property of token program, which will in turn have a value of our token program ID. And again, it's not the one that we made, it's the Solana from the Solana SPL token. Okay, then we have a clock attribute with the anchor.web3.sysvar clock public. There you go. Then we have the system program, oops, not that one, which is going to take the actual system program we destructured, but specifically the exact program ID. Nice. Okay, cool. So now for the actual hook itself, right? We just set up an object here and imported a bunch of stuff. What this hook will actually do is the following. You can say the function const use account, right? It's going to be equal. A const use account is actually going to be a function, and it's going to have a variable called const, and it's going to use wallet, and that's what we imported here. Cool. And we also want to set up a connection variable, and the connection is going to have a value of the web3.connection, and we just pass in whatever URL we're using, devnet, testnet, and if you remember, it's all stored in Solana host, right? Now it's making sense. So remember, let's do a const program, and let's use the get program instance that we made earlier in utils, right? To actually get the program. And if you remember what it passes in, it takes in a connection and a wallet. So we can just pass in the same thing to the devnet. And then the wallet we pass in is wallet from the use wallet. Awesome. So for const signup, it's a variable which will equal an asynchronous function. Okay. This asynchronous function is going to take in a name and as well as a profile. Because remember, the front end, it's going to take a name and a profile image. And this function is going to contain the smart contract instruction call. So in here, we're going to have to call the create user. Okay, cool. So if I want to call create user, there's a couple of things that we need to do. So the first thing is the following. To make a variable, user PDA, right? And we say await anchor.web3.public capital K key dot find program address. Okay, and I'm just going to press enter for spacing, and we're going to do in this, it's going to take an argument of utf8.encode user, and then wallet.public key.to buffer. And last but not least, it will take the program ID. Okay, right, and if you remember what program is, it's program from the get program instance, and we get the actual ID here. Just press Alt-C. How's that? Cool, awesome. We can simply just do an await now, and we also want to wait for the actual instruction call. So if program is the actual program itself, then we want to connect to it by doing the RPC, and from here call the name of our instruction. So what was the name of our instruction in our smart contract? Do you remember? Exactly, it was create user, right? Just double check. Solana playground. What is our command? Create user. Awesome. Make sure it's the same spelling. Okay, so that's it. rpc.create user. And what does that instruction in the program take? It takes name and profile. Yes. Is it coming together now? I hope so. I really hope so, guys. Again, these are not easy concepts to understand the first time. It takes me a while to understand, and I'm still learning even today. So my goal is if I keep repeating those concepts, it's just gonna click. All right, so accounts user can be user underscore, and authority is gonna be the wallet.public key, like key, comma, default accounts. All the accounts that are associated with this smart contract, and at the moment, it's technically 0. But eventually, if a lot of people are using your app, you'll have a lot of accounts. Okay, cool. All right, so there's closing curly bracket, closing parenthesis, closing curly bracket, and then here is where we want to return our sign up. And again, that's our function. Cool, so that is it. We're not actually calling the create user yet. We just set it up so when we run this custom hook, then create the user. Okay, and now the next thing to do is figure out when do I want to run this hook. Okay, so I'm super happy you guys are following along so far, and I know it was a lot of setup, but now we can go back on the things we already made and get everything up and connected. So what I mean by that is let's head over to main view again. So if I just scroll here, main view, and let's just set up a bunch of things that we wanted to get. So that's gonna be import use effect, right? We're gonna be using some of this later. Use effect, and also the hook use state from React, okay? And then we also wanna import use wallet from @Solana/adapter -react. Yay, okay. And then from there, I put import, okay. Then we could also do, import our good old friend Solana host. We're gonna make maximum use of that variable, and this is gonna come from this path. I believe it's utils, yeah, utils, and then const. We also want to bring in get program instance, right? So now this should all start being familiar to you on what everything is, which would make me super happy. So now it's like utils, yeah. Okay, and then we're going to do another import of the token program ID, but again, this is from the @Solana SPL. And if you didn't know, SPL is Solana Program Library, so that's what the program ID is for. Alrighty, so we have that, and now another thing we could do is import some hooks, or just the one hook so far, which is going to be import use account from the hooks / use account. So now we can start using this. Okay. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention too is we didn't import the styles from here yet. So let's import styles from that path, which was dot styles. Yep. And then we could just say main.module.css. And we do have that, right guys? Let me just double check. It was command styles. Yes, sir. Okay, it's right there. Main view. Okay, cool. So now we can start like making the JSX of the main view later. Okay, so there we have it. All right, so moving on, let's set up some more variables. And the variable that I want to set up is the anchor one again. So let's set up an anchor is equal to the require the project serum, right? Boom, and const utf8 is going to equal anchor.utils.bytes.utf8. Okay, and just like before, we want to do destructuring of the anchor object and get bn and web3, and we want to destructure web3 again too. Let me just fix this. Const sys program, set that equal to web3. Yes, cool. So we're getting again web3 from anchor and system program from web3. Awesome. I also want to be setting up my default accounts again. So let's do a default accounts. You're going to notice as we're building, there's a lot of the same code or just similar code in different places. So once you know what the piece is, you can see like, oh, this goes here, this goes here. Token program, it's going to be exactly the same as last time. Token program ID. Clock will be anchor dot web3 sys var clock pub key, and system program will be system program dot program ID. Yes. Okay. Got the default accounts. And remember how we got the use state? There is a bunch of state that I want to start setting up. And to do that, if you want to start using the hook, it should be inside the function component itself. So here I'll start setting a bunch of them up. Cool. So there's use state here. And for now, what we'll just do is account. So now you're going to see this is where it comes from. Is account and set account. And the default state will be false. So if I ask you guys if it's initially going to be false, right? Is account is going to be false. Which one is going to load? Sign up or the TikToks will go here. So if you said sign up, you're right, because the default state is false. They sign up, then we can switch this state to true. So we're kind of using this like a flag or a toggle. Okay, awesome. And while we're here, let's do the const wallet is equal to use wallet. And we're going to set up the connection again, which is going to be new anchor.web3.connection. And this is where our Solana host comes in. So I'm basically saying the connection is on the devnet again. Okay, and the const program, remember the get program instance, we're fetching the program essentially with the connection, which is devnet, and the wallet, which will be phantom. Okay, cool. Here we can actually use the use account hook. So if you remember what the use account hook does, right? Where are you? Use account hook. Yes, use account is actually the function sign up, right? Where it actually, I keep saying actually, where it's the function sign up, which will in turn create the user from our program. So coming back to main view, let's use that hook. So I want to get to the sign up function from use account, right? So let's think about this. In my main view, is that where I'm going to call the sign up function? What is main view? Main view is, let's go here. Main view is essentially the view after the user sign up, which is where the TikToks go, like I was saying. So it wouldn't be in main view. The sign up function should go in sign up. So now the naming should start making some sense too. Cool. So how do we get the sign up function in the sign up component? Well, there's something called props, which is essentially you can pass things down from parent to child. So if I were to illustrate this concept, let's picture like a square here that represents our main view, right? So this is M for main view component, right? What is the child of main view component? It's going to be sign up, because that lives inside the main view. So we can illustrate that drawing. So the child of main is going to be sign up. So I'll just write it as sign. Okay, I feel like Khan Academy right now. Okay, cool. So where does the sign up function live? The sign up function lives in main view. So let's have a little circle here, and that represents the function. We're good? So if the function is here, how do I get it to this component? We're gonna have to pass it down to sign up as a prop. Okay, so now you might be asking, Lance, how do I pass it down as a prop? Luckily, it's pretty easy, and it's like a React basic. So this one's for you beginners. If I go back to my selection here, all I need to do to get that to start working is come down below here and say sign up, right? That's the name of the prop, is equal to the sign up function. So this is how we pass down props to a child, right? While we're here, I also want to pass down another prop called wallet. And what I'll pass is the wallet public. And we got to make sure that it's to base 58, because that's the format that it wants it in, or that makes it a lot more easy to deal with or work with. Cool. So those are just, so if I ask you how many props do we pass down 2, and they will all exist in one prop object. Okay, cool. So pass down the props to sign up. Let's move over to sign up. And I'm sorry, the whole time the sidebar was here. And then let's go to sign up. And now you might ask, okay, so now that sign up function exists or is passed down to sign up, but you now have to accept the prop. So usually what happens is you go props, right? And if I were to console log this, you would see an object that contains wallet and sign up. And to get the sign up function, you have to usually say props.signup. Cool. But we can use something called destructuring, which you've seen me done before, which is this. So if it's an object, to destructure it, you write out the brackets for the object. And instead of writing props, I can now just write the names of the attributes. So here, in this case, it'll just be sign up. It's the real one I'm going to use. I just have wallet there just in case. I don't believe I'm actually using it, but I could revisit that later. All I want to do now is just pass in or accept the sign up prop. So this is, so every time I say sign up now, I don't have to say props.signup, or in this case, sign up, signup. This looks so weird to me. All right, cool, sounds good. And while we're here, let's also import the hook that I want to use, which is just going to be use state, which will come into play in a second. Now let's see what's going on. Oh, from React. Awesome. So if I hit save, this is our main app. Maybe we can split it up a little bit. Cool. How are we doing? Nice. Okay. So now no errors, right? I can see sign up. If I were to console log it like I told you, let's see what we see. We might not see it yet because we're not in the sign up part yet. Yep, I was right. So what we have to do is this. Click select wallet, phantom, log in again, webpack imported module is not defined. Oh, 1 second. Okay, this is actually telling me that use account in main view is not a function. Okay, so let's look at use account. Okay, it's not a function. Ah, there we go. The reason why it's not recognizing as a function is because I forgot to add a export default use account. Hey, there we go. So now we can head back over to sign up. Just hit refresh real quick. Hey, so here we are. So now let's see if my console log is working, and it should show us a function. Yes, exactly. So we got our hooks working. Awesome. So now we successfully passed down the sign up. The question is, when do I use this function and what are you guys passing into it? So in other words, if I were to make an account called Lance and my profile image is this cool guy right here, right? How do we save this and then pass it to the sign up function? Because right now, it's really not getting saved. That's where the use state hook comes in, and we just have to set it up like so. If you come up here, we don't need this console log anymore. What we can say is const array is equal to use state, because again, this, remember I talked about destructuring an object. This is how you destructure an array, because use state actually returns an array with two things, right? An array of whatever you pass in here, by default it's undefined, and a function. And I can define those by giving them a name. So I'll call that username, and the function is going to be called set that username. It's typically, the convention is set whatever you put here. By that logic, how should we do profile? Try to guess it before I write it. I'm gonna say const profile is set profile. You got it. So then we say use state right here. Yeah, cool. Awesome. Once that is done, right, how do we then sign up? We can create a function called sign clicked, right? This can really just be whatever name you want. I'm just gonna do it that because it makes sense to me. And let's console log signing up. All right, cool. We'll just leave that at there because it's really noticeable. Awesome. Okay, cool. So this function is something we just created. When is it being called? I really believe program is just thinking. So if I was thinking, when should the function be called if I'm using this app? If you said when I click the button, you're correct. At the moment, we shouldn't see a console log. That's because in here, and I mentioned this before, we're gonna add an on click. Yeah. In that on click, we're gonna have the sign up click. And notice it's sign up clicked, not the sign up function. Yeah. So let's save that. And now if I make this guy bigger, let's see what we see. Boom. Sign up. Every time I click this, we're running that sign up function we created. So what do we want to happen when the sign up is clicked? That's what I would ask myself. And what I want to happen, we call the sign up function, right? We say sign up. I think it's just like this, sign up. And what do we pass in the sign up function? If you forgot what we have to pass in, go back to use account and look. We pass in a name, right? Name and profile. I hope that's coming together for you. But then, how do I pass in the name? I could hard code it, right? You're right. I could put Lance here and then I put the image here. But that means every time I sign up, all the accounts are gonna be Lance with the same image. I wanna make this dynamic. So to make it dynamic, we need to put like a variable here. So what variables could we put here? That's right, username and profile. So for now, let's take this out because I don't want to call it when I press it. Let's figure out how to save, like if I were to write Lance here, how would I save that using state? So that's, right, you might be catching on if you were paying attention, right? OnChange is going to come into play now. So if you don't know, OnChange basically will run when there's a change in this input field, right? So let's say OnChange, we're going to say E for event, and we're going to say set username. So using that function from the state, and we're going to say e.target.value. So that's how we grab the value of the input on change. So essentially we want to copy this down here, right? But what should I change here if you're thinking about this? Yes, you guys are experts, right? It's going to be set profile. Yes. And it's going to be e.target.value still because that's going to be whatever I write here. So what should we do to see this is let's console log, right? Username and profile. Let's try to run this experiment. And I'm going to make this bigger so it's super clear because once I explain this, I'm not going to explain it as much later on. Awesome. So in the console, when I hit refresh for the very first time, we see undefined. And that's because there is no username. There is no profile image. But if I were to click on that input field, and let me just make this a little bit bigger. If I were to click on the input field of username, if I type in L, what happened, right? Look at the console. It's an L in there because when I click L, that's considered a change. And every time there is a change, we're setting the username. So that's why only the top part is changed. If I say A-N-C-E, right? So the latest one is what the username is currently, right? If I'm talking about this guy right here, I hit paste. How many changes would this be if I hit paste? One change. So now username is Lance and my profile image is this image, right? So now we have the variable that contains whatever I put in my input. The reason why I'm taking my time to explain this is because you can reuse this for any app, right? This is like React fundamentals to me. So enough over explaining. If you guys already get the idea, feel free to skip, but I hope you were able to understand that. So now that I know that these two variables will always contain whatever in the input, I can then call signup and then pass in username for name and profile for the profile image. Beautiful. So now that that function is done, let's see what it brings us. And as I was saying, once that function is done, it's all hooked up and it should be ready to go. One last thing I will do though is coming over in use account. Once this await is done, right, I want to have a console log here is with user is signed up. This is how we can test if code went through from the front end. There's a ways to test it on the Anchor build itself and also Solana Playground itself, but since I'm already here, this console log should only run if this function call is resolved. Does that make sense? Cool. So moment of truth now. I'm gonna go ahead and bring back my little website. And for all intents and purposes, I'm gonna hit refresh. Cool. Now there's no username. Username state is blank because it gets reset. And I'll say Lance and my profile image will be this guy. And let's see what happens, right? And I actually should make this bigger, in fact, so that we can see that console log. All right, so I'm expecting errors, but let's see if it works on the first try. Okay, so transaction may have failed to confirm. Usually if you see this, that's not a good sign. And there you go, failed to send transaction simulation failed. Let's see if I can troubleshoot this problem. Okay, so from my understanding, whenever I see this, that usually means they tried to take Sol, because anytime you do something on the chain, you have to pay some transaction fees. And that usually means I have no Sol, but I thought I did. But if I check my wallet 6, oh, I see now. Wallet 6 has no Solana, so that makes a lot of sense why this isn't working. So let me just refresh this real quick and actually change the wallet where I have plenty of Sol. So I'm in wallet 1 and I have 17, so that shouldn't be an issue. Let's see if we get the same error. So repeating the steps again, if I write Lance, now username has something. If I paste this, that should be the dice bear. Oh, I get so happy because it doesn't say transaction may fail. This is actually working. Let's hit approve. A user is signed up. So officially there is an account that is signed up with our program and its name is Lance and the profile image is this dice bear of the seed Cody. So that's super exciting to know. Every time we make a new function on Solana Playground or your smart contract, we're going to be testing it on here and it's the same process throughout, right? We did a lot of the setup, so it's gonna be the same thing. So that's exciting. Let's move on to the next function. Okay, so I think that's a pretty good spot to stop on the front end. I wanna start coding back on the smart contract. So I hope you guys are ready to come back to that. One thing I wanna do is save my progress by coming down below and let's hit this VS Code right here. If you remember, we do a Command J and then let's update that GitHub repo. So if I do C, boom. So we could do a cd ... and let's do a git status, right? So if I go to git status, you can see all the things that we changed. And if I increase the size of this, It's gonna look a lot better. All right, so look at all the work we did so far. One thing that you should get into the habit of is saving your progress by update on your repo. So if I do git status again, we should see I added all those files. So git commit, and I know we added a lot of things. It's been a while since I've pushed, so I'll just say add. I added create user functionality because that's kind of summing up everything. Usually I like to be pushing more often, but that's a good start. So if we do that, we can do git push. And if you remember our old TikTok Solana TikTok app on Netlify, I think if I go to Netlify here, go to login, we should be able to see our website update. Right, so this is what it was at the very beginning of this video, but now if I come below here, it's going to be building again. So every time we push, it's directly connected to our GitHub. It should push all those changes and show the app again. Okay, here we go. It's starting to move now. It's not going to take as long as the initial deployment because it's already deployed. So it's a lot faster now. Awesome. So this is good to see. Site is live and the beautiful sparkle emoji. So this was our live site. I hit refresh. Wow, it's already live and it's already up to date. So we can connect our wallet, we can hit connect, and we can create a user. Okay. That's good to know. All we need to do now is X this out and let's hop over to Solana Playground. Okay, so going back to the playground, let's just clean a lot of this up. We can keep these guys. Dice bear, you're cool, but I don't need that specific image and we don't need any of these. So it's all cleaned up, full screen, and now we're back to our smart contract. I hope you guys didn't forget, but I want to add another function. So if we're thinking about TikTok, right, what are the functions on here? So this is the finished app once again. Let's see, am I on wallet one? Sure. Boom. So I'm already signed up and we have all the videos here, right? So how do we add a video on TikTok? If you remember the demo, we clicked on this guy and then we uploaded a new video by inputting a description and inputting your video URL. If you're already looking at this and thinking about how we did create user, it's a lot similar, right? So what did we do? If you remember the steps, we created a new function or the instruction that we want our program to do. Awesome, so let's get started. All right, so to get started, I remember I made some variables here that we have to determine the size of. I'm gonna make the rest of them now. So we did username length. We also need to do something called text, right? For text length, all that is will be the video and comment text length, which will just be a use size again, but this time of 1024. So we can have a long description essentially, okay? Other than that, another variable that I want to set up since we're already here is going to be const of number of allowed likes, right? Space. We don't want the users to be liking the same video over and over again. Right? We just want to be able to like it once. Cool. So we're just going to say 5. And then after that, we're going to say const number of allowed likes. Wait, no, I did that already. Awesome. So number of allowed likes space will just be 5. Okay, that should be good for now in terms of hard-coded space. What we can do now is start coding up the instruction. And the next instruction is going to be, like I said, create video, right? That's the process of uploading a new video on TikTok. Right, so how do we start off a function? We can use this kind of as a template. So we'll say pub fn and the name, which is create underscore video. And for create video, it's going to take in a couple parameters as well, which is going to be ctx for context. And this time it's going to be context. Remember, if we looked, we took create user. And sorry guys, let me zoom this in so you can see that a lot better. How's that? Okay, create video will be the context, right? So again, we have to create a struct. So let's do a description. So it'll be a description parameter. And what is the data type of the description of the video? It's going to be a string. Right? How do I know it's a string? It's because this will be considered a string. And this is the description right here, building chess app in React. Okay? So description will be string. The video URL, which is a lot like the profile image URL, is going to be a string as well. All right, so we also want to store or take in the creator name, right? So if I'm logged in as Lance, this is where we're going to pass in Lance. And then of course the creator URL, which will be a string as well. So they're all strings except for the context of create video, okay? And we need this little arrow here and we got to type in program result, and that's going to be what gets passed in. So for program result, right, we just want to log the description here. We'll say and description so we can see it once a week. Another thing we want to do is literally get the video. So before I move any further, remember how we were starting out this function, and for it to make a lot more sense, we created the struct for create user. I'm going to do the same thing. So let's take a moment to do just that. All right, so coming down below over here where we see the structs, what I want to do is make another one. This one is going to be for create video. So just if you scroll up here using this as a template, we also want to derive accounts. So we're going to derive accounts, okay? And when we derive accounts, we have to write the struct exactly right over it. And we're going to write pub struct, the name of the class or the structure here. So we say create video, and we always do info here, okay? Info. After that, curly brackets, and everything within this curly brackets is going to define what needs to happen or what are the behaviors of creating the video, okay? So first we need to authenticate the video account, right? So we're going to do the brackets account just like we did previously, nothing new. And we add parentheses here, and oops, it automatically finished it for us, but we just want to do init. We're going to set the seeds again, and the seed is going to equal b video dot as underscore ref parentheses comma random key dot key dot as ref. Okay, cool. So now that we set up the seeds, we also want to add the bump again, just in case it's not a unique hash. We're going to add the bump to increment it by like 1, 5, and I think it's up to 20. The pair, just like before, is going to be the same as the authority. Cool. After the pair, we have to define the space of the video. How much space does it take? It's going to be size of video account, okay? And that's parentheses here, plus, right, all the defined stuff that we put in at the top. So it's going to be whatever the size of video count and text underscore length plus the username length plus the user URL underscore. And last but not least, we also want the video URL link, video underscore URL. Then we always do a +8 right here, +8. I wonder if this works with Alt-Z. No? Okay, cool. So that should be fine. I wonder why these aren't highlighted the same way. User URL length. Let me see. That's interesting to know. But that's essentially should be the size of it all, right? Plus, gotta keep going. I wonder if I can hit enter here. +8 plus 32, and then it's gonna be times the number of allowed likes, right? So we're actually using that as well, space. Right, so there's 32 bits in a pub key, and we have 5, so for this one. Cool. Yeah, so there's a lot of things that goes into the video, essentially. That's why there's a lot. Other than that, underneath this, we need to define essentially the attributes of the pub key, which is going to be pub video, which will have a value of the account info video account. And again, we don't have a video account just yet. We're going to create that struct in just a bit. Next, we're essentially going to do something just like this or similar. We're going to get the hashtag account again and say mute. And this time, this is going to be random key, which will also be account info. Okay, after that, let's define the authority, right? Essentially the signer who pays the transaction fee. Once again, it's literally the same as this. All right, I can even copy paste it because that's going to be the same. Okay, other than that, we need to run a system program again, and we also do the clock. So do you see what I mean? Like after a certain point, you're going to start to recognize, oh, some of these things need the same exact pubs. So there you go for that. And remember, this one is just to save the time. Cool. So we made the create user struct, and then we made the user account. We made the create video. Now let's make the now let's make the actual video count itself. Okay. So to do that, we can just get our account attribute and say pub struct once again. Okay, cool. So this one is simple. It's a lot more simplified and easier to understand. A video count, right? What should be the keys of a video object if you're thinking Java? The ones that might not be inherently obvious would be you need to keep track of the authority, which was just pub key. But you need to keep track of what else? The description of the video. So if you remember, if this is the video object itself, there's a description that we're going to need to save or set. So we can set that up by saying pub description, and we define what the type is right after. Okay, so we also need pub video underscore URL, which will also be string, right? These all are going to be strings for the most part. Pub creator underscore name, string. We also have pub creator URL, which will also be string. And we'll also have pub comment count, right? We need to be able to count how many comments there are. So if I go here, you can see there's 1 on this one, 0 on this one, 4 on this one. So each video has a property called comment count. And this is where we are setting up or defining that, just like we would in a class. So then that one is going to be unsigned 64 integer. So pub index, right? The video's index is going to be 64 because there are going to be multiple videos. So we're going to give them an index as well. So let's do pub creator time, right? This one will be I64, okay? Signed 64, cool. Next, we want to set up something called a vector, which is something you'll understand if you know Rust. So you're going to say people who liked, and that's going to be the property of vec, pub key. So the way I look at this, with Rust, you should know exactly how much space you're using. With a vector, the amount of likes can drastically go up, right? We can't set a real hard-coded limit to it. So with the vector, you're just essentially allotting space for it and pointing to it. Like, hey, this is how much people liked it. All right, at least from that's to my knowledge. Okay, so pub likes, you can say, and then you can say pub remove, okay, 64. Cool. So all of that is what makes up a video object. And we're taking that into account when we create a video right here, video count. And we're also taking that into account when we're talking about the space. Okay, cool. So one thing I'll do is I should add some semicolons. I believe I'm missing some. But again, build will let me know. Let's see, I'm expecting a couple of warnings or errors. Cons text length, I see. Help provide a item for text length. Oh, duh, I have to put like the use size of it. I just put 1024. Let me just double check. Yeah, use size. Wait, no, I did put use size. I just put 2 here. Build mismatched. Okay, so I'm just gonna go through all these errors one by one. Let's try to figure this out together. Oh, there actually is a semicolon that I just added that shouldn't be there. Boom. I'm gonna hit refresh to clear it. It's a bit easier to read. Nice, that's normal. Oh, did I not remove that semicolon? Oh no, I didn't. Okay, compiling. Oh, there you go. That's where we need some semicolons. I knew I was missing it somewhere. Okay, expected a comma. Oh, not semicolon, comma. Cool, and that definitely affected the likes there. Find pub key in the scope. Okay, let me just refresh that again. Let's see. Yeah, if you're wondering why I'm refreshing, it's because sometimes it's hard for me to read all those errors because there's so many. But if I just click build, let's see again. Yeah, just move this around. It's easier to see. Okay, that's a little bit easier to see now. Program result. Expected result. Did I not have program result? We have Solana entry point here. So let me see if I copy this over. I might have just typed this wrong. So this is program result reflected here. Should be the same. Oh, duh. I didn't finish creating the rest of the function. So program result isn't going to give anything. Okay, cool. Now I see the issue. Let's just carry on. What we need to do is create underscore video, right? Create. Okay, so and then if you're wondering what happened with the other errors, I might have messed up something with vec public key. So if you need a second, I'm going to show you guys this. Just make sure your video count, all the properties are this. I'll pause it, give you a second. Cool, awesome. So now it's all fixed up. I just formatted it a lot better and fixed some spelling. Okay, now we can move on and finish the rest of the create video function. So that's going to be over here. And I'm just logging the description that's passed in from this function. And now let's actually get the video. So to get the video, I'm going to make a variable here and it will say and mute, right? Because remember, mute means I'm going to be able to change it. If I don't put mute, it becomes immutable and I can't change it. Oops, the account video count. All right, we're getting that video count. And then on top of that, we're setting that equal to mute ctx. So essentially this video will have a data type of account video count and it's going to equal the context.accounts. So remember, it's taking in the context of create video. So we're going to take that context, go to the accounts and then grab the video. So we're getting the video. So this thing right here, you can look at it as get the video. Okay. Once we got the video with that line of code, just line this up with that line of code. What I want to do next is set the authority. So if I say video, because we got it now, the authority, I want it to equal the context of the accounts. And in the counts, not only is the video stored on there, but the authority is too. We know that from authority.key. Okay. Boom. Then we also want the video.description. The description will have the value of description that's passed in. So notice how we're taking the keys from the video count struct and we're setting and defining the values for them here. Okay, and this is the one where I can't forget. I should be putting semicolons. Okay, semicolon. Then we're gonna say video. Why isn't this formatting the way I want to? Okay, cool. So let's do a video underscore URL. That's the next, and let's do video because that's what gets passed in. All right, then we can do a video creator name, creator underscore name, and set that equal to the creator name that's passed in, which should be the same of the username. All right, so if I log in as Lance, the creator name should also be passed in as Lance. So video.tour underscore URL going to be equal to that creator URL. So we can technically separate these just to visualize a little bit better. This is like the video stuff. This is the creator information. Cool. And each video is going to have a comment count. So what should be the value of the comment account at the beginning? When you upload video, it shouldn't start with 5 comments. So that's why I'm going to set it to 0. There's also video.creator underscore time. And that's going to be ctx accounts.unix underscore timestamp. So we can have a timestamp associated with the creating time. Okay. Then we have the video.likes, which is just like comments. How many likes can we expect when first creating a video? it's 0. Awesome. Okay. And once all that's said and done, we can say message here and say video again, which is just logging. And just like before, we want to do our sol log and compute the units so we know exactly how much units are left. And every function has to end with an OK because that's how you know everything passed. And I believe you can pass things in here as well, but we don't need to. Awesome. So let's run anchor build. Let's see what errors come up. Oh, look at that. Message and description. Okay, that's fine. We just need to add a semicolon. I can understand that. Let video unexpected token. Oh, that's because, yeah, that's because I didn't add the semicolon. So this compiling separates it. So cannot find function Solana compute unit. Okay, that should be compute units. Okay, compiling. So now it's the video authority, no field authority on type count video count. Okay, so let's go into video 7. Let's see what we're missing. So it's saying authority. Okay, finished. No way. Okay, cool. Awesome. It always makes me happy when you run the code and there's no errors. Who can relate? Finished. Let's go. So now what we could do is upgrade this, right? The cool thing about Solana programs is that it's upgradable, unlike other contracts, because like once you finish the contract and you put all your functions in there, if you try to change it, it's not going to work. Luckily, with these programs, you can upgrade them. So I'm going to upgrade this contract, and once we do, we should update our IDL. Luckily, I had enough sol. Let's see, did I have enough sol? Deployment successful. Awesome. So one thing I want to show you is if you come over back to VS Code, right? I zoomed out a lot, and we just do Command J here, Command B. Awesome. And let's just head over to the IDL, right? Or in other words, the utils TikTok clone JSON. Do an Alt Z here. You can see how there is a create user function in the under the instructions, but there shouldn't be, well, there should be a create video instruction. And that's what this IDL should contain. So just make sure I'm going to refresh, and let's do a IDL and export it. IDL 4, and let's take a look if it's there. So now we have create user as an instruction and create video. Awesome. So let's take this IDL 4 and copy the contents. And remember, this IDL is not in our project, right? So we can X this out. Let's X out 2. And let's make sure we paste it in our TikTok clone. And now that's a lot better. Let's hit save. So now when we get the program instance and we get the IDL, it's updated with the new instructions and the structs that we created on here. So that's the process to update your program with your front end. Okay, so remember that. We're going to be doing it about 2 more times after this. So now that we have that function, let's set up the front end for it, yeah? All right, and we had our fun making the create user function, but now let's go back into comfortable front end Web 2 stuff. So let's head back to the code. So coming below here, oh my God, this looks insane, but we can just save this. And let's head back into main view just for a second here. And what I want to talk about now is we made the function for create video, but in order to test, we have to create something that's going to fetch the videos that are already there. So at the moment, there is none because we haven't uploaded any, but we need to set that up still in order to see something happening. So what we're going to do is come over to your hooks again, and let's make a new file. This one's going to use TikTok.js. Boom. All right, so we're making another custom hook. All right, so I can go ahead and make this all wave, okay? And we can increase the size of this too. How's that, guys? All right, cool. So follow along with me. It's gonna be a similar process to when we did the last custom hook, except this time we want to be fetching the video accounts that are in the program. So let's import, which would be the first thing we do, the token program ID from Solana, not from our utils, from Solana SPL token. Okay, from there, let's also get the wallet from Solana adapter React. We also can import something called public key, which we have before, public key, which will come from Solana web3.js, and our best friend, the Solana host. Okay, so if you think about this logically, we want to be getting the videos from the smart contract, right? So in order to do that, we have to get the program. Luckily, we already made something that gets the program. So let's do import get program instance. From there, we're going to do utils/utils because that's where it lives. We can also do a const anchor equals require the at project serum anchor. Okay, now this thing is similar to literally the last hook. We're going to get the anchor.utils.bytes.utf8. Okay, then we use const bn because we're going to be destructuring again anchor. And then remember, we're getting web3 from here. So what did we get last time from web3? We got, you're exactly right, system program from web3. Okay, cool. Let's set up our default account again. Then it's going to be token program is the value shall be token program ID. And then the clock, which just saves the time, will be anchor web3.sys var underscore clock underscore pub key. System program is going to be system program dot program ID. Cool. So that's our default accounts. Nothing new here. We're just setting it up once again. Now for the real function itself, TikTok, we're going to do const use TikTok. Okay, awesome. This shouldn't be curly brackets. This should actually be parentheses. And again, since it's a function, we just got to set it up like one. There we go. Okay. Now that we set up the function, let's take in a couple parameters. And there's actually a lot that comes with use TikTok. We want to get a parameter called set TikToks. All right, this is capital T. And then user detail, video URL, description. Remember, this is all the, besides set TikTok, these are all the keys of video object that we created from our smart program. We're gonna pass all those information in so we could set it. Same kind of pattern. Set description, set video URL, and set new video. Cool. So just to quickly go over these parameters, like I said, these are the keys of the video. When you see something with set, we can infer that we're probably gonna pass in a state here that's gonna have the description, like the same way we did with the login, right? So if I come back to here really quickly, right? Remember how we saved the state of the username and with set username? We can assume that we're probably going to save the state of the description and the video URL. So that's how I'm thinking about this, right? So set description, video URL, and then also set TikToks should hold all the TikToks that we have in that account. So then we're gonna do const wallet, which is the first line of code in the function. And const wallet will equal use wallet again. And let's get our connection ready. So the connection is going to equal new anchor.web3.connection. And this is capital C, Solana host. Because what is Solana host? You should be hearing it in your head. I don't even have to say it. Yes, it's dev. Const program equals get program instance connection wallet. All right. Okay, cool. So again, this is the use TikTok function. Now within here, we'll have the get TikToks. It's gonna be asynchronous. This is like the sign up section of the use account, right? Where in this use TikTok, we have a get TikToks function. Okay, let's have a console log here just to know, so I know that it is like in fact fetching, or at least it's running. And afterwards, let's say const videos and let's get that video account. So to get the video, we can do program.account, right? .video account. That's the specific type of account that I want. And if I do .all, I get all of them. Okay. Then we can just console log the videos, which should be just an array of every single video that we have. If there's no videos like we have right now, the array will be empty. So if we are able to get those videos, we're going to just use set TikToks, right? Which will be videos. Yeah. Awesome. And again, we didn't make the state for set TikToks, but we are when we set it up in main view, I believe. But here we're just calling it, right? Because where we're going to use that TikToks, set TikToks will exist. Hope that makes sense to you guys. So let's make a comment here. Save all videos in state for frontend. Awesome. So that's the get TikToks within use TikTok, but there's actually more functions within there. So this one is going to be like video. So like video is exactly what it sounds like. It's going to be what's going to allow us to, one, like the video, or in other words, create a comment. So maybe we don't need to make this just yet, but I can set up the skeleton of it. Okay. So function to call like video from smart contract. All right. So we don't have that yet, but we're setting up the skeleton. Cool. And if we're going to follow that convention, we also have a function that's going to allow us to function to call create comment from smart contract. Yeah. So notice how we made a function. We're going to be making a video function from the smart contract in our playground and a create comment, but we didn't need to make a get video because there's already a way to get all the videos just directly calling the account from the program. So that's the reason why it's like this. Okay. So this one's going to be const create comment equals async address and comment. I'll go over this again once we have that function, but for now I'm just continuing to code this. Cool. Now this is the one that we do need. This one is the actual new video itself, right? So what function are we going to call from the smart contract here? Function to call create video. There it is. New video, just to make it a different name. Async, just like the others. And it's not going to take any parameters because the parameters that we're going to take all exist already globally. Use TikTok, and we just have to pass it in when we call the instruction. Okay. So one of the first things is we need a random, and we can get a random key by saying anchor web3 key pair, dot key pair, and it actually has a generate method in here, dot generate, and then what do we want to generate, which is the public key. Cool, awesome. Other than that, let's do a let video underscore PDA equal to await anchor dot web3 dot public key find program address. Okay, address, parentheses here, and inside we can have the UTF-8 again, dot encode video, comma, random key that we set up to buffer. Okay, and then we want to put comma program dot program, just passing this all in the program address. Okay, after that we have the transaction, which is going to be abbreviated as TX, and here we're going to await the program RPC8 video, and inside it's going to take in a couple parameters, and it's going to take the exact same parameters that we set up on our playground. So if you remember, it's going to be the description, the video URL, the creator name, and the creator URL. So let's translate that in here. Let me make sure I spelled description right. Description. We're gonna pass in video URL, and this one will say user detail as the creator name because it's user detail username, and user detail dot user profile image URL, right? Because we also want the profile image. So if you take a look in here, we have the name, and when I look at the comments, our picture is also on here. Cool. Right. So let's go back to the code. User profile image URL, and then it's going to take in an object. All right, that's why this is really long. So the object that this is taking in is going to be accounts, and the accounts is going to have the video PDA from before and a random key as the random key, and then we're going to have the authority be the wallet public key, and again we're going to do this default accounts. And the closing parenthesis here is the end of the parameters. And all I need to do is console.log, right, TX. All of that was a part of TX. If I'm able to console log TX, we can assume that a video was created. So we can test that function, okay? From there, we also want to set the description to empty, right? We're doing this because if I create a new video, we should clear the description because that's going to indicate that we already sent it, right? If you were making a to-do app and you put in your to-do in the input field, you put enter, that should be cleared. So we can do that since it's saved as a state by saying set description is just empty string, and set, let's see what else do we need? Set video URL to empty string, and set new video show as false because that's going to be true. Okay, awesome. And then there is this function within use TikTok called get. You can just set that here, and I'm just going to keep it here. So let me make a comment for this one. Function to fetch comments from the comment on the smart contract. Right, so there's no function that we're creating called get comments. We're just fetching it from the account itself. Cool. And I won't forget this time. I got you guys. After getting all the comments, did I write this right? Let me see. Oh yeah, get comments. After writing all the comments, I want it to be able to return all those functions, right? And I have to return it like this. So if I do get TikToks, like video, create comment, new video, and get comments. So if I return it like this, I'm essentially going to be able to destructure each function individually from this hook. So that's how you make your own custom hook. And like I said, I won't forget, let's do export default TikTok. Cool. All right, so that's the use TikTok hook completely. So once that's done, we can actually put this to use. So let me just add the front end and we can just start testing some of these things. Okay, so now that we have this custom hook, we can hop back over to main view and make a little bit more progress on this thing. Okay, so when we have, let's say, the use TikTok, right, hook, we want to import that as well. Where is use account? Right here. Let's type in import use TikTok. Awesome. So remember, when we're using hook, it should always be within the function component itself. And if I do use TikTok, I'm going to write it down here. And let's destructure the functions that we're going to use, which is going to be pretty much all of them. It's going to be get TikToks, right? TikToks, liking the video, create comment, new video, and get comments, and get comments. And we're going to set that equal to that hook. And use TikTok is going to take in a couple different things. It's going to be set TikToks. Actually, this makes more sense if I put in those states, right? Because it's going to, remember, if you remember use TikTok, we are using states, right? So we need to pass those in. And if we want to pass them in, we have to set it up. So I'm just going to set it up right under here. I'm going to say const TikToks, comma, set TikToks, right? This is a use state, right, that we're setting up that's going to hold all the TikToks in our app. Other than that, we can just set up the rest. Let's do use state. And I know there's going to be a couple of these, so let's make copies. So there's going to be 1, 2, 3, and 4, I believe. So the first one, new video show, right? And then there's set new video show. We're also going to have a description and set description. This is going to be similar to the username, like I keep mentioning over and over. It's going to be running the on change, okay? And this one is going to be set video URL. Same deal. After that, this is gonna be user detail. All right, this is gonna help out mostly for comments. So this one will make sense much later. Okay, so now let's set the initial state. Like when we first load a new video show, what should be the initial state? Like I was talking about earlier, it should be false. What should be the initial state of description? Empty string, because it should be blank and empty string. If I were to put hello here, you would see in the input field hello, because that's what I want to show up in that input. Okay, and then user detail, we can actually just leave blank. It can be undefined. Cool. So now that we set up all those states, I feel more comfortable of passing them in the parameters. So let's put set TikToks here. Notice how it's not grayed out anymore, right? User detail, video URL, description, and set video URL, and of course set new video show. Okay, we're passing that into use TikTok so that when we call anything of any of those things in the function, it exists. So it wouldn't be undefined. Oh, not show. Cool. So did we import use effect yet? Yes, we did. So we could set that up. Next, let's set up the use effect. And if you don't know, use effect is a React hook which lets us perform side effects at different points in the component's lifecycle. So if that doesn't make sense to you, go look up documentation on use effect. But the best thing I can explain to you is if you want to run a function when the component first loads, or when there's a change, or when it unmounts, this is the place to do it. So you just put a function in here, or a check that you want to happen every single time. All right, so basically what I want to happen is if wallet, we're getting this from a wallet context, wallet.connected, if it's connected, or wallet.connected, that is true, then what should happen? We shouldn't see this sign up anymore. I clicked sign up and there's already a user, but we should get to the page and we should get the TikToks. So let's go back to the page. If the wallet is connected, let's get the TikToks. Okay, cool. So remember, there is one more thing I want to do. There also is the check account, and that doesn't exist yet. Check account. So let's make a function, const check account. All right, this function is literally going to check if the user is connected or not. So this is where this is finally going to come into play. So follow along with me. It's going to be let user underscore PDA, just like the video PDA, but now it's user. Now it's going to be await anchor.web3.public key.find program parentheses UTF-8 and then code. Okay, and now we do a wallet.public key.toBuffer. From there, we're going to do a program.program ID. Awesome. So we have the user PDA, and from there, let's set up a try catch block. I'm going to set up the catch first since it's easy. If there is no user, we got to make sure the set account is false, right? Because what happens if the account is false, right? If the account is false, then we should be seeing this sign up still. But then if the account does exist, let's do a const user info is equal to await dot program, not dot program, await program dot account dot user account dot fetch user PDA. Okay, so then if that works, then let's console log the user info so we can actually see the account that we're fetching. And then we're gonna set the user detail with that user info. Okay, and then we have set user detail here. That exists. And of course, we want to set the account to true. So now it should start to come together. If is account is true, what's gonna happen? We should see essentially the TikTok app, but for now, there's like a placeholder that says TikToks will go here. Okay, cool. So I feel comfortable with that. And that's the function. That's what I call the recipe. But when do you want to run this command? I want to run it if the wallet is connected, yeah? So let's do check account here, right? So when we first load the component, if that wallet is connected, then we can check the account and get TikToks. The problem with use effects is every time there is an update, right? Let's say I change something on the create new video, this use effect is gonna run again. So we're gonna check account again and get TikToks. I don't want that to happen. So use effect actually takes two parameters and comma here, and this is called a dependency module, right? If you just have an empty array here, this use effect will only run once when the component first, okay? I hope you're following, because if the dependency module has something in here, like wallet.connected, it will only update once, or if this is changed, like if it changed to true or false, it will run this and check it, which is exactly how I want to run it. And that's why you use use effects, because it gives you a lot of control of when to run certain functions. If you're familiar with the Web 2 space, you can use use effects to make an API call, you can use use effects to authenticate a user, and many more things like that. So that's on your little spiel on use effects. Awesome. Okay, so just taking a look, that should be just fine. And we are importing the style, import styles from main view. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna do the same thing like we did with sign up, where I prepared the skeleton of the CSS and then we code it up as you see it. But just for fun, let's go test our app. All right, so I'm gonna refresh this. Oh, let me open up the VS Code. Are you running the project still? No, we're not. So in here, let's do a NTL dev and get up and running. Not found. That's probably because I'm not in the right path. We're in TikTok clone YouTube only, but when we should be in front end. Okay, cool, clear. Now we should be able to do NTL dev because that actually exists there. Hey, okay, so our login is still working. I can input my path, boom. TikToks will go here. We already have an account. So we loaded, right? Wait for it. We loaded this JSX because we have an account made already. We did that earlier, but what if I did wallet 2? Now let's see, wallet number 2. I'll hit refresh. Right, now it's gonna prompt us to log in. And let's also keep track of the console because remember, it should be showing us the user later. Let's select wallet, phantom detected, approve, and now we're gonna register wallet number 2 for our app for the very first time. I'll hit connect. Fetching TikToks, so that's working. We shouldn't be getting any TikToks, so we don't have any. And now it's prompting us to sign up. All right, so for the username, let's think I'm gonna shout out one of my students, Arnisha, right? And we're going to get her a nice profile picture. Let's do Arnisha. Cool, this is Arnisha. And let's bring that over here and we can X out the old one. This is our profile image. Let's hit sign up. Hey, okay, so that means it should be working. That's good. Signing up, user is signed up. And it does take a couple seconds, but if I hit refresh now, oops, nothing. I gotta give Solana some time. There we go, awesome. So that means Arnisha is signed up. And if you look, it's console logging that user, the user details. So that's amazing. All right. So now let's make this very pretty because it should look more like this. Yeah. So if you want to learn how to do that, get excited because now it's happening. So like I said, I want to be setting up the CSS. So that's going to be easy for us to see what's happening. So I'm going to go and do Control P and let's find main view module.css. There we go. And the only thing that we need for the skeleton is I'm going to have a div called app videos. We're going to have another videos, but this time I'm using the WebKit scroll bar. Because the way I'm setting up, I want to be able to hide that scroll bar. This is how you, and you say this, I can just add that now, display none. And we'll toggle it later so you can see what I mean. Cool. So this hides the scroll bar for, I believe, Chrome, Safari, and Opera. But this one, this app videos, oops, if I do -ms -overflow -none, and then we do scroll bar -with none. This one is specifically going to hide the videos for, I believe, Internet Explorer and Firefox. All right, it could be switched. I sometimes mix this up, but for now, this is it. I'm going to add the app videos later. So I'm going to hit save. Okay, go back to menu. Oh, I guess I can do Control P. And now when I add the JSX, it's not going to say undefined because we are already importing. Awesome. Cool. So there's going to be a bunch of unfinished things here, but bear with me. So let's do this again. If, right, there is an account, we need to take new video show, right, and upload model. So essentially, if new video show exists, we're going to load the upload model. All right, upload. Okay, and upload model doesn't exist, so let's just quickly create it. Now we're finally gonna start to make all the components on TikTok now. Okay, cool. So now it exists. We'll come back to this in a second, but it's just closing div, parenthesis, curly bracket, and we can hit enter here. And now for some styling, right? This should be the app itself. So this is where it comes in. Div class name, oops, styles dot app videos, right? Is that how I named it? It should be app videos. Yes, it is. Thanks for confirming, guys. Okay, now in this div, right, I'm gonna get the TikToks dot length equal to 0. I'm setting this up as a condition for my ternary statement, which is basically saying if the TikTok length is 0, right, this is where we'll have just something really ugly. It's just gonna say no video. You can upload this and fix it yourself, but for now, this is what I'm going to include for no videos. And like I said, since this is a ternary, what happens if the length is not 0? And it can only be more than 0. So in that case, if it is, then we want to do a TikToks.map. And we're mapping through the TikTok's state that we set up, which holds every single TikTok. For us, it is going to be 0. It's going to be empty. But if it did have some, all right, we're going to use the map function. And for every single TikTok in an array, let's say we have 2, we're going to iterate twice. This map is going to run twice. So every single time we want to be returning a video component. Right, oops, a video component. All right, and this doesn't exist yet, but this component will hold the actual TikTok video itself. So you can imagine we'll be passing a lot of things onto this. Cool, cool. Setting up video now, and let's import video. Okay, this is why I held off from styling the main view, because if I did this at the beginning, it'd be a little bit confusing, but now it's not. Right, so here, where is the end of the map? Oh, and if I do this, I won't have to write return. Awesome. Okay, so then there's this closing parenthesis, closing bracket, and then the closing div. Then over here in between this, we'll have another component called bottom bar. If you're wondering what bottom bar is, if I take a second, bottom bar is going to be this little guy right here, right? So that is that component, which is going to have the button to create a new video. We actually use this button to refresh to get the TikToks again as well too. So you don't have to refresh the browser. So that's good to know for later. That is the bottom bar. Oops, click the playground. Awesome. So where was I? And then should be closing div and then sign up and everything else sounds good. Save. And let's just take a look at our app. Any errors? Yep, bottom bar is not defined as expected. All right, so let's make that a new component. Okay, hitting save. And now when I check, are you undefined still? Oh, duh, I have to import it. I was on such a good flow, guys, but now here we go. Bottom bar. Nice. So let's refresh this a bit. Hey, no videos, bottom bar, right? That's totally fine. But once we add styling to everything, it should make a little bit more sense. So I'm thinking about this. I think I want to start styling the video.js, because if I style the video component, when we create a new video, you'll be able to see it. Yeah, so let's do that. So to start styling our video component, we're gonna need to hop back to our code and let's go to video.js. Let's get started. So the first thing I wanna do is import a couple things from React. So let's import use ref, use state from React. Cool. So after that, we have a couple different things we can import, but it's not gonna make sense till later on. So what I'll do instead is let's just import our styles from, and the path of styles/video.module.css. And yes, I know this doesn't exist just yet, but we'll get to it. We'll get to it right now. So going to styles, let's make a new file. It's just gonna be video module.css. All right, same thing. I'm setting up the styles so that later on we can just not worry about it being undefined. Wrapper, and then .video player. Okay, unfortunately, we're not gonna be able to really see what this looks like until we get a video. And luckily, since it doesn't have any styling, I think I'm just gonna style it as we go now. So position is gonna be relative, and the background color is going to be black, and the width is gonna be 100%. Okay, the height is also going to be 100%, and the scroll snap align is going to be start. So this is the feature where in TikTok, scroll it just a little bit, it like goes to that and scrolls to the next div. Boom. Right, so I'm not like scrolling, hands up, boom. See, that's pretty cool. So this is going to help with that there. Awesome. And then the video player itself is going to be object fit fill and width 100% and height 100%. Okay. Cool. So now that's done, we can head back over to our video, and we're gonna need to pass down a lot of props. So remember what I explained before, props. Going back into main, let's take a look at what we will need to pass into video, which I'd imagine is a lot. Okay, so one of the first things about this is this first parameter in map represents the element in the TikTok array, which is literally a TikTok, which is why we're calling it TikTok. Second parameter in map is essentially the incrementer for an index, so it goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Anytime you're creating a component, you should give it a unique key. So that's what I'll set up first. The key is going to equal the ID, right? So if there's one video, the ID will be 0. If there's 2, the ID will be 1. Cool. So its address is going to equal, right? And now we just have to map out the object. So if TikTok is the object that holds the TikTok, we can get the address by doing TikTok.public key. And remember, we want it to be readable, so let's do 2 base 50. And there we go. So the URL, we're gonna do the same kind of thing for all the other properties. So it's gonna be TikTok.count.video URL. Okay, and then for the channel you can look at it as the TikTok name, TikTok count.creator name, because I think that's what we called it. Channel, and then the index of the video. Index of the video is gonna be TikTok, .count index .to number. Okay, and then from there, if we do likes will be however many likes the TikTok has, TikTok.count.likes. And if you remember what it is by default, it should be 0. Now, so something that we real visually see the most is the description of the TikTok, and it's simply just TikTok.count.description. If you're wondering where I was able to figure this out on, is if you were to take this out and just only console log TikTok, you will see each object, and if you open up that object, you can see like, oh, if I open up public key, I should see the public key. Okay, so description, now we can just see the number of shares. All right, I don't think we actually have the amount of shares on this, but we do have like video is going to be just like video. There's also like address, right? Each video needs to store the people that liked it. So just to put a visual to that, this video is storing that this account liked it, right? But this account I didn't like, right? I didn't personally like this TikTok on this account, but 3 other people did, and it's remembering that. It saved it on there. So that's what like address is, right? So to get that, we can do TikTok account dot people who liked. Okay, then we can also do create comment, because we should be able to create a comment from each video. All right, again, visual. If I can do this, I should be able to create comment. So let's create comment, do get comments. And then we should also be keeping track of the comment count, which again, by default, it's 1 until somebody adds their own comment. And let's do a 2 number here. Yep, and like video comes from get TikToks. Yep, looks pretty good to me. All that's passed in from main view. So now we have to accept those props from the video. Now coming to video, we can accept the props here, and if we destructure them, it'll be a lot easier to call them. So I'm just gonna write them all out. Okay, so that was a lot. Awesome. And then, yes, okay, cool. So then there's a couple of states that we want to set up here. And remember how I'm using useRef, it's gonna come into play later, but let's set it up. So const playing. I want to keep track of the playing state, right? Is the TikTok playing? If it is, right, then it should be true. But if it's not playing, it should be false. So by default, do you want your TikToks to be playing? Probably not. So I'm gonna set playing to false. Otherwise, it would all play at once, and that's really insane. So let's do show comments, right, as another state we want to keep track of. So this is where we click on the comment, and then we will see the little text that showcases all of the comments. So we can just change that. And essentially, this is going to be like a toggle, just is playing. And then const video ref, right? This is where the use ref comes in, right? And by default, it's null, right? We're going to be grabbing a reference to the video where we can set it to play or pause, right? It's going to be a lot more clear once I start building more of it out. But if you're following with me, you're Gucci. So on video press, that's the function name I'm creating, right? So if I click the video or press the video in this case, we're gonna check if playing is true or false. Because if playing is true, does that mean the video is running? Or does that mean the video is paused? It means the video is running if playing is true. So what do we want to happen? We want video ref current, right? Because that's coming from the ref object to be dot pause, okay? Else, which means if playing is false, we need to be able to play the video. So let's do the same thing here, except this time. And of course, in order to change the state of playing, after we hit pause, we have to do a set playing false, and then followed by a set playing true underneath the else. Yeah? Cool. All right, so we also want to be able to hide comments. This is a function that we're going to place somewhere. What state is going to be affected by this? It's going to be the set show comments modal. And if I want to hide comments, it should be false. But what if I want to show comments? That's a no. That's a whole function on itself. Show comments. And if I want to show comments, it's going to be show comments modal. True. Yes. True. 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 Okay. Awesome. So for the JSX of the video, there's going to be components in this video itself, right? Like the sidebar, the footer, the comments, but I'm not going to make all of them right away. I'll just write out the whole JSX and then we'll start talking about it. So what we can do is do that, and we can say class name styles.wrapper. Okay, and there's actually a video tag here that we can call upon with the class name, the video player, right? So styles.video player, and we want to say loop. You can just put that right here, because after it's done playing, it should loop just like it doesn't. So on click, that can equal on video press. Then we hit ref, that can equal the video ref, right? This is where we're getting the use of use ref and getting the reference of this video through here, right? Every tag is going to come with a reference object or attribute, sorry. And the source of this video is just going to be the TikTok URL. Right, and that's how we're able to play these videos. So in theory, you should be able to do it with YouTube as well if you wanted to use those kind of videos, but you might have to format it, or you might have to do with some cores if YouTube doesn't allow you to just copy YouTube videos like that. Cool. All right, so for now, I already know there's gonna be a component that goes here, so let's comment it out. There's also gonna be a sidebar. Yes, these are all things that I'm gonna come back to once I have an actual video, right? Because you can't even see these things until we have one. Okay, I will set up show comments modal, right? Because we already did set up that state, so this can exist. And since it's JavaScript, right, in HTML, you have to separate it by putting these curly brackets here. So I'm writing JavaScript now. And essentially, if show comments modal is true, we should show comments component. And we need the closing. Where's the other way around? Awesome. So this one I can make, because if I save this, it will say it's undefined, even though like when I load the video, and I don't want that to happen. So let's import that. So let's do new file, comments. Cool. All right, I feel comfortable with that for now. So if anything, we should just see a video minus the footer and the sidebar. Oh, so we're making great progress on being able to create a video real soon. The next thing we should probably work on is the upload modal. So if we're gonna work on the upload modal, click the upload modal file, and then let's set it up. Okay, so I'm in the upload modal file, and there is some props that we're gonna be needing to pass. So I think actually I lied, let's go back and go do that. So in main view, let's take a look at what props we need to pass down to upload modal. All right, there's only a few, not as much as video, look at this. All right, but upload modal does need some. And now upload modal is going to need description, and that can just be as description. Video URL, which is just video URL, new video as new video, set description, we're gonna pass in that state there, and set video URL, and set new video show. Cool, so now we're good to go. Awesome. So let's accept those props by destructuring them first so that we can call them by their names without saying props dot. So description, video URL, and so forth. Okay, awesome. So that's all the props, I believe. Let's also set up the CSS. So I'm gonna go back into styles, simply just say new file, upload modal.module.css. Okay, cool. And like I usually do, I'm gonna set up the skeleton so that you guys can visually see it as well. And actually, I won't fill out the styling. Cool. So there will be a wrapper, there will be modal buttons, there will be a title div and input. Okay, just like before, we also need an input class and a button class. So this is the skeleton of all the divs. Might forget one, but let's see. I think that's pretty solid. We just need to import that styles. So import styles from, and then that path, which should just be /upload modal. Hey, does it even show up? CSS. Yeah, that sounds about right. Cool. And luckily there's no like hooks or anything we need to do here. We just need to set up all the divs. So let's clean this up a bit, and I'll just say class name wrapper. Yeah, it is styles, right? And then we got div class name upload new video input field. I can never spell field. I filed again. Field. There you go. Thank you guys. Then we can do a div class name of input title, which will just hold this word description. If you're noticing, it's very similar to when we were trying to sign up a user. Same kind of text box. So if you want the visual, just like that. Very similar to signing up. Yeah, there you go. Awesome. So after the input title, let's do the input container, which of course contains an input. The input has the input class, type equal text, value is equaling description. And then we gotta have the on change, which I can actually put now. I don't have to save it for later. You guys know what this is now. Description. Yep. And of course, if you want the input field, you want to do e.target.value. So closing div, enter, div, class name. All right, so we're just going to do the same setup with input field and the title and the container. It's like silent coding session because I'm so focused. But you guys should be following along. It's like the same thing, yeah? On change, again, set video URL. We want to make it e.target.value to grab that input. Nothing new here. Div, closing div, and we want to set the modal buttons. Do I have that class in here? Oh yeah, I do, modal buttons. Cool, so this is just going to contain buttons. Oh, and on click. And we actually have the function that I want to run if we click it, which is going to be set new video to false. Okay, this one's going to have a unique class name. It's going to have two. Let me just see. Yeah, there's a cancel button, and then there's just a button. It's going to have both. So to write that, we're going to write a template literal. I'm going to say style.button as well as style.cancel. Okay, and in between them, we'll just have the word cancel. All right, just in case you wanted one more button. On click again, and when we click, we're going to run new video, right, which is a function that comes from that's getting passed down to upload modal, and give it two class names as well. Template literal, style.button, and style.create. And I know, I just realized it's gonna be styles. Cool, styles. All right, then we just gotta write create new in here. Create, okay, default, upload modal. I'll hit save now, and it's not gonna have any CSS. If I were to open it, it's just not possible to open it, because if you remember, to get this upload model to get here, you have to click this right here. And to get this, we're gonna need the bottom bar component. Okay, so let's get it rolling with the bottom bar. We want to make this little guy over here. So I'm going to head over to my code and let's get back to main view. The reason I want to go to main view is because with bottom bar, there's a couple of things I want to pass down. So with bottom bar, all it's going to take as props is set new video show, and that's going to be set new video show. All right. Then we're going to do get TikToks and put in get TikToks. Awesome. So those are the only two. Let's see if I spelled them right. Yes. So now I'm going to go to bottom bar. And since I have this little guy open, let's make a bottom bar styling, bottom bar CSS. So bottom bar dot module dot CSS. Okay, cool. So now that I have that set up, let's get the skeleton of this wrapper. We have an add video button and just a bottom icon. Nice. Okay, bottom icon. So just those three things, and then coming back to the bottom bar component, clear this up. Oops, image tab. Bring this up a little bit. And here, there's a couple React icons that we're gonna get. And remember, our CLI tool was able to import React icons, so there's no need for you to do that, which is super awesome. And let's also import style from .styles /bar.module.css. All right, so take a second. These are the icons that we're gonna need: AI fill home, the outline compass, IO's add, and the message minus the BS person. All this are just the icons that you see here. Yeah, cool. So let's destructure our beautiful props and set new video show is what we're gonna type. Then we can get TikToks here, and nice. All right, time for some JSX. We're gonna fix up this div and give it a name. I'm thinking, oh, I said style. Let me put the style with S, styles. So styles.wrapper is the parent div, and here we'll use the AI fill home. And I can actually give icons a class name as well, which will just be style.bottom icon. Okay, underneath the AI fill home, we have AI outline compass with the same class name. Okay, and we're not going to close it just yet because I want to add in an on click to this. All right, so for the on click, let's see if I do this, we can say on click, let's get TikToks. Because remember I said this button right here actually refreshes and runs the get TikTok function again, so we don't have to click this refresh button. Okay, just a smart way to do that. All right, after that, we can finally write another div and say class name, styles, add video button. Okay, and the add video button is the middle thing, so it's gonna be iOS add self close. Give it the class name and on click, of course. And what we want to happen is set new video true, because if set new video is true, we're gonna load that component, the upload modal. All right, let's see. Oh, gave it some inline styling, looks like, which is gonna be, oops, color black. Cool. Closing. Let's add the rest of the icons now. It's the by message minus class name style.bottom icon or styles. Okay. Then there is BS person with class name styles.bottom icon. Awesome. Let's save that. And now it's been a while, but let's do the split screen again. And there it is. There's our beautiful little app with all the icons on there, right? And I'm gonna have to zoom out a little bit, guys. Sorry, so I can see this a lot better. But we can do it a little bit more like this. There we go. I'm feeling that. We can zoom this in just a little bit more. Cool. So take a look. This is what our bottom bar looks like with all the icons, but it should be looking more like this. So how can we get it to look like that? That's where the CSS comes in. So to start, let's add a width. Actually, before I start the width, let's add a background color. Let's make it red. Cool. So this is our bottom bar, this red thing. So it's gonna be black, but I use red because it's easier to see. Now, if I give a width of 72.6%, okay, and let's give it a display flex, because if you remember, what is the default flex direction? If you just say default, it's row. You got it. So then here, let's justify content, and I want space evenly. Okay, so this puts even space around all of that. For this, we want the color to be white. Cool, except for the plus icon. Plus icon should be black with a background of white. Okay, now for the font size, that should be 2 RM. The padding, let's give it some padding on here, 20 pixels. Nice. And let's give it a border dash top of 2 pixels, solid white. Okay, and that's just this little line that separates the video from the bottom bar. To be honest, I didn't even notice that when I was using TikTok, but it's pretty cool. small details that you don't notice that developers think of. So now let's add a border radius. And if you didn't know, the way I'm formatting this, it's top, right, bottom, left, I believe. Oh, what the hell? Oh yeah, I was here. 0, 0, 20 pixels, 20. Nice. So see how I was right, top, right, nothing. Yeah. Left, right, bottom right, and top left, bottom left. That's what I mean. There we go. Now we want the gap to be about 40 pixels. Oops. Hey, so I added spacing between all of them, and now it grew. So it should be almost the size of it. Let's see. And let's do a margin dash left. 47. Nice. Yeah, don't worry about the no videos. That's gonna go away once we have videos. Cool. Now let's work on the add video button, which will just have a width of 45 pixels. Oops. Background color of white. And we get the idea with this. I don't want to make it red in an eyesore. Let's do black. There you go. And now let's fix up this add video button. The color of it should be black. Not sure if that changed much. Let's do display flex on this because I want to make sure that it's centered. As you can see, it's like by default not. Okay. Justify content center. Nice. And let's align the items. Okay, cool. So now it's super center. Let's do border radius of 0.4 rem. There we go. Awesome. Okay, and again, if it doesn't match up with the size, that's probably because the icons are small. Oh, did I just delete it? Localhost 3000 and 1. Okay, cool. All right, for the bottom icon, let's do cursor. Awesome. Oops. Cool, so that's our bottom bar. Let's see if I can click this. Hey, there's our modal, and modal comes up. I can hit cancel and it's gone. Boom, 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 boom. All right. Of course, it looks ugly because if you remember, we didn't do the CSS for it. So let's go back and get that done so it can look more like this. Cool, so what we're gonna do is go over to Control P, upload modal CSS. All right, so let's get to work. So getting started with this, going back to the top, let's open that modal. And this is the before, and this should be the after, right? So as you can see, we're gonna need to make a white background again. This is probably its own div, which we did, and we gotta style our own custom input once again, okay? So building off what we learned before, for the wrapper, let's make the position absolute. Left 50%, top should be 50%. And there's gonna be a transform effect here. Transform, translate, negative 50% and negative 50% as well. Okay, we're gonna give this a z index 10 and can't forget the semicolon. Background color of white. Cool, it's in the perfect spot. All right, after that we need the min width and make that min width 20 rem. Let's make the min height 20 rem as well. Cool. Yeah, it's obviously not in the right spot, but we're gonna get it there. Border dash radius 10 pixels to make it nicer. And let's add a padding. Give it a padding of 1.2 rem. Display flex. And again, if I hit save here, it's gonna put it in a row, but we want it back to a column. Flex direction. Justify content center and align. Cool. Back over there. Now we have modal buttons next, which is just a display flex. Justify content space evenly. Then we're gonna add a margin top 20 pixels and a padding of 10 pixels. Cool. All right, for the title. If you're not sure what the title is, if I give this a background color brown, that's the title, right? That's what I do if I'm not sure what I'm targeting, but I know what I'm targeting now. Let's do a font weight of bolder. Why did I put Control S by accident? Bolder. Font size is gonna be 1.5 rem. And for the margin, I just wanna give it like a 1.5 rem, a 0, 3 rem, and a 0. Okay, that's looking a lot nicer. And let's start working on our input fields. So again, that's if I do background color biscuit, right? That's the input field. There's two of them, so it looks like a one big box, but it's not. Right, with 100%. We've seen this before. Margin dash bottom 1 rem. Okay, then we have input title 100%. Oops. Input title font size needs to be 1 rem, 1 rep. And let's add a margin bottom. Margin bottom can be 0.5 rem. There you go. And for the container, let's do a display flex, a border 1 pixel, hashtag ECF4. Let's make it solid. Nice. Okay, and then a border dash radius, rem. Padding is going to be 0.6 and a 0.4 here. Then we got background color, which will be hashtag FA, FCFC. Hey, okay, cool. Now for input, let's give it a flex of 1. Yeah, I can already tell one of these divs are messed up, but let me just finish this input styling. Border is none. Oops. Border dash radius. Okay, now it's bothering me. So I'm gonna save this temporarily. Yeah, this one is round already. That doesn't seem right. Styles, oh, I see. I gave this input container instead of, there you go. Now it's in sync. Now I can give this a border radius, 1 rem as well. Yes. Okay, next, let's give it a padding. Let's beef it up a little bit, same as the other one. And a background color. I think I'm styling this wrong. This is actually just a flex 1. Right, this is border none, and there should be no outline. That's what I'm missing. And the background should be none. I was like, that doesn't make sense that it has a color. There we go. That's more. Get own custom input. All right, let's style the button. Color will be white. The padding will be 5 pixels. The border dash radius can be 9 pixels. Color will be hashtag FFF, and we'll have a transition 0.2 linear width, and then we can do an align items center here. Okay, we can do justify content center, display flex, font weight of 600, font dash size, I'm thinking 0.9 rem, okay, and a margin of 0.5. Cool. If you're wondering why they're the same thing, once we get to the create button and the cancel button, they'll start to look a little bit different. Watch. If I do background color and I do this hashtag 4e, that's create new, and the border will be 2 pixels, oops, 2 pixels, hashtag FED55 solid, and the color of this one shall be, what do I do? FE2D55. What should be property value expected color. There you go. That's more like it. Cancelled. The only issue is that the upload new video is not entirely in the right spot. That's so strange. Like, we're so close. It should be more in the middle, but that should be taken care of from the transform. So I'm just gonna come back up here. Transform. That's why. Translate. Hey, there we go. So we got the upload modal up and running, and there it's good to go. So that's it. We have it right here. Awesome. So while I'm here, I just remembered that if I go back to main view CSS, I didn't finish the app videos. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and finish that. So for main view CSS and for main view CSS for app videos, all I want to do is a position relative, a height of 800 pixels, a border dash radius 20 pixels, 0, and margin dash left of 47 pixels. Okay, we also want to overflow scroll here and a width of 80% and a max width of 500 pixels. Okay, and then there's the scroll snap type, and let's do Y mandatory. Hit save, and yeah, there's that scroll bar that we didn't want. So that means this needs to be fixed. WebKit, oh, it should be dash WebKit. There you go. I guess that's all I need to do. Other than that, this is looking a lot closer to this. Cool. So that is the upload modal CSS along with finishing the main view finally. All right, so are you guys ready? Because that was a lot of front end. We got a lot done. We got the skinnier, slim version of TikTok. That's okay. But what I really want to see is if I click the upload modal, will my TikTok upload and can we create a video from our smart contract? So let's enjoy that process and let's see if we get any errors and it works first time. So what we can do is head over to TikTok, right? Oh, I saw it already. Let's do TikTok, Clever Programmer. And I'm going to go ahead and click this. And let's click copy video address, right? I always like to make sure that it's the bigger version.
Tutorial help.
Yep.
This is something.
This is the one you want, right? So the one you copied from here is the one you want. We actually don't need the code. And for the description, let's put tutorial hell because that is the description. Let's hit paste. And here we go. I'm nervous. Let's hit create new. Oh yeah, password. Okay. So let's log in first before we do anything crazy. Cool. So it's prompting me to log in. Boom. This is my account with TikTok. Let's click this. Let's hit description tutorial hell. And just to make sure, does this wallet have Solana? Yes, it does. This is wallet number 2. I forgot what username I put for this. Oh, I think it was Arnisha. Let's hit yes. Okay, it doesn't say transaction may fail. It actually gives us an estimate. Let's hit approve. Okay, so the modal disappeared, which is a good sign. No major errors. So we just gotta wait a bit. Let's see. Let's go. We have a TikTok. Right, the main thing I want to see is if
this is something.
Wow. Okay,
the
cool.
Longest time that I can imagine.
We were able to generate a TikTok from our link, and we ran it through a smart contract. So all of it's working. This is not just for show. We can actually add videos. So cool. And of course, we can't really comment because we haven't set up that front end. But what I want to do now is, since we have so much momentum, guys, let's start building out the rest of the smart contracts. So I'm actually really happy that worked on the first try. If you're watching this video and you worked the first try without any errors, give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment down below saying bear. If you say bear in the comments, I'll know that you made it up to this point and you're able to create a video and create a user. So leave that comment bear, give this a thumbs up, and let's continue on. So coming into the Solana playground, we have so much momentum, guys. We've made create user, we made create video. Let's make create comment. Again, we can just use our previous functions as a template, right? So it's not like you're going in blind. Each time you make this, it should make a little bit more sense. So if we want to go ahead and create a comment, what we should do is come down below here. Let's do some spacing, and let's say pub, let's increase the size of this, pub fn create underscore comment. All right, it's going to take in some parameters, and the same pattern. The context parameter is going to be the data type of context create comment. Yes, a struct that we're going to make in just a bit. Okay, so we're going to have the text. All right, when we create a comment, we should pass in whatever we said as text, and that's gonna always be a string. Cool. Then we need the commenter name, like the person who commented, and then we need the commenter URL. Right, what's their profile picture, which is also be a string. So those are the only parameters that we're going to need. We just need to put in program result again and tell our code what is that result. Okay, so the logic for this instruction is going to be something like, we're going to say let video and say and mute count video account, right? Because we want to get the video. Why do we want to get a video? Because we want to be directly affecting the video account object, because the video account object holds the comments, or at least how much number of comments there are. And now that's going to equal the and mute, because we want to make it mutable and say ctx.accounts.video, right? We're taking the context, we're getting the context of the accounts, and we're getting the video here. Okay, semicolon, right? Next we can say let comment, which is going to have data type of and mute again, of account and comment account. So we need to make a struct for this, so keep that in mind for later. Okay, so now we can say equals and mute ctx accounts dot comments, or not comments, sorry, it should be comment semicolon. I wonder if I can make this smaller, can I? Oh, okay, that's the smallest it goes. Cool, so if I zoom out a bit, you can probably see it a lot better. And before I write any more logic, let's create the structs for it. So again, if you ever get lost, we can use this as a template, right? So we need to make the create comment struct and also the comment account struct. So when creating the create comment struct, what are we gonna need? Take a guess. It's going to be the hashed derive accounts, and we're gonna add pub struct right after it, so that it can inherit the information we need. So create comment is going to have info, and not that, it's going to be this one. Yep, give it that lifetime variable info, and we can also do hashtag account and put mute, and we can say pub video is going to have the account info, right, of video account. Okay, and then from there, let's authenticate the comment account just like we did with video. So we can control its behavior here by putting parentheses. Oops. And yeah, it's basically something like this suggestion right here. We do need init. We got to set up the seeds to create that unique hash. And to create that unique hash, we're going to pass in a couple things like b comment dot as underscore ref, parentheses, comma, video key dot as underscore ref, comma video dot comment underscore count dot to underscore b underscore bytes. I turn it in, then from there we can do a dot as underscore ref parentheses. Okie dokie. So that's the seeds, and usually what we do after writing all of that, we add this bump just in case it's not a unique hash. We can increment it by 1 or up to 20, I believe. So payer is going to be the same as the authority, and the space, we determine how is this create comment struct, right? And the size of this is going to be this, whatever the size of comment account is, you know, parentheses, plus the text underscore plus user underscore name underscore length plus user underscore URL underscore length plus the video underscore URL underscore length. It's going to need all of that information to get an accurate estimate of how much space the comment create a comment is going to take. Okay, looks pretty good to me. Hard to see, so I'm gonna just zoom out one more time just for now. Then underneath that we can add comment, pub comment right here, say account, say info, and it's gonna take in the comment account, which doesn't exist yet. Cool. Let's do a hashtag account mute, right? This is the same thing as before, right? If you remember, we had the authority, we needed the system program, and we needed the clock. Very standard. We're gonna use that same information again. So look what happens. Paste, same thing. Authority, signer info, system program. The only difference is this should have system, and this is info clock. I believe that's the only difference. Cool. So that is create comment. Now let's create the comment account struct. So to get started with that, let's get the account attribute again and say pub struct comment account. Okay. Then we can say pub authority will be the pub key, pub text will be a string. And again, I don't know if I have to explain this again, but the comment account is essentially what the comment object looks like. So the authority is always needed, but the text is going to be what is the comment string or the text inside of it. What information will we need again? It's gonna be the commenter's name. I want that to be a key of this. All right, you can look at this as like setting up schemas in a database, right? Because this is technically our backend here. So this is our commenter URL string. Then we can do a pub index u64 unsigned integer. Then we can do a pub video underscore time and do i64 signage. Did I spell everything correctly? Awesome. So that's it for comments. We have the comment struct, the comment account struct, and now I feel comfortable explaining the rest of the function. Yes, so this is where we left off. And what I wanted to do next is, now that we're going to create the comment function, we can set values to the keys of the comment account object. So what do I mean by that? If I do comment.authority, what should be the value, right? If you remember from previous examples, it's going to be ctx.accounts, and then we can get the authority from there by doing .authority.key method. Okay, now how do I get the text of a comment account? We can do comment here, right? Because we have that context, and we can do comment dot, right? Scroll down, text. That's how we get the text. Comment text equal to text, right? I'm saying equal to text because that is a parameter that we pass in when I'm making that call. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. And let's add these semicolons. So then let's continue on. Let's move faster. Commenter, oh no, comment.commenter underscore name should be the commenter underscore name. That's passed in. We have the comments.commenter underscore URL is equal to the commenter underscore URL. Cool. Another thing I want to keep track of, and I believe I did also in this case I forgot, we kept track of the index, right, and video time. So let's do that. So comment.index is going to equal video.comment underscore count, and comment.video underscore time is going to equal ctx counts.clock unix underscore time stamp. Cool. And when we create a comment on a video, let's say, if I create a comment onto this video, how many comments should it have? Should it be +2, +3, right? It should be common sense +1. So how do we increase the video's comments? Or specifically the video, and we have the video's context information because of this. So I can say video here. Video's comment, I'm accessing that key underscore count, right? So by default it's 0. But if I'm creating a comment, plus equals 1. If you have any basic programming languages, this isn't scary. So cool. And again, what do we put when the function is passed or it's true or executed? We can say, okay, boom. All right, so that is the create comment. There's only one more function I want to make, which is liking the video. And since we're here, I'm thinking, let's go ahead and make it so that we can just bang out the front end and we'll be done. Cool. So after getting the create comment function down, let's go ahead and make the like video one, or like I said. So where am I? Ah, so this is where it is, pub fn, come down here. And all we need to do is write pub fn like video. At this point, you guys are pros at making functions on the Solana chain, and I'm super proud. All right. So again, it's gonna take in a parameter, but luckily, if you're just liking a video, it's not gonna take much. All we need is just the context of like video. So that is gonna be a struct, yes. Okay, cool. So then we can take program result then. Program result. And what program result is going to be is let video, right? Because we wanna get the video once again. And to get the video, we can say mute count video count. All right, so this tells me I'm grabbing the video count and setting it equal to the type. This variable is going to be the video count, and it's going to be equal to mute ctx.accounts.video. That's how we get that reference. Cool. So this is a part that I'm excited about. It's definitely different than the other functions we've done so far, but there's a way to essentially loop through something on Rust. And there is for loops on Rust from what I know, but iterating is what we're gonna do. So we're gonna use something called iter, which essentially is gonna iterate through the accounts. And the reason why we're doing that is because it is safer than indexing. Because with indexing, with a for loop, there could be a chance that your loop goes out of bounds, and that just means outside the number of elements in the array. So if there's an array of 3, right? If you do an array bracket 3, that's going to be undefined. So it's safer than indexing. So for loops aren't really used as much, I'd say, right? To my knowledge, mostly they're going to be using something called iter. So to iterate, we're going to say iter pub key, and that's the type, and we're going to set it equal to video.people who liked. So just to break it down, we're getting the video or the video data from the accounts. And what we're doing next is taking the value at people who liked, which is essentially just an array, and we're gonna loop through them, or iterate through them is the better term. So from there, we wanna do let user the liking the video, okay? And the type is pub key equal ctx, and we just have to get the pub key. So ctx.accounts.authority.key. Same thing that we've done before to get the key. Cool. And from there, we can just do a video.likes plus equals 1, right? Because when we like the video, we want to increment that like counter by 1. So if this was 2 before, when I liked it, it became 3. Yeah, simple enough. So that's what we want to set up with this. And remember, in the video struct, there is a key that's people who liked. It just keeps the array. That's this one right here. We want to also save who liked the video, so that way you can't like it twice. So let's .push, right? User liking the video. So essentially, user liking the video is that account's authority, who's ever logged in, and you're pushing that into that array at that key. Cool. And that's all like video is, right? So from there, we can just say okay to confirm, and bam. And the only struct I believe we need to make for this is just like video struct, which shouldn't be too hard. So I'm just gonna scroll all the way down to the bottom. Let's find my like video struct. Okay, coming down to the bottom now. We'll do the pub struct, right? Oh, and don't forget, we also need to, of course, derive the accounts again and do a pub struct like video, and we'll get the info, okay? And then from there, let's do the hashtag accounts attribute. And remember, we want to define that behavior. So we say mute, because we want to make it changeable. And we could say pub video, and the pub video is going to be the account info, comma, video account, because the like is associated with the video, so we're gonna need it here, okay? And it's the same thing as before. We need that authority again, but I'm not gonna copy this one because this one included system. We need this guy again, same thing, boom. So system program unchecked account info, comma, and then info clock. Yes, sir. Believe it or not, that's it for like video. All right, so that wasn't too bad. I think that's a good sign of getting the hang of it, but still a little confusing for you. Just making stuff over and over again, like your own anchor projects, it's gonna make this a lot more easy to understand. So let's go ahead and hit build. Let's see any errors that come up. I'm expecting some. I think I see why. I copy pasted this and just added system, but in reality, this shouldn't care about unchecked account. This should just be program info system. There we go. That was my fault, guys. I thought I could just simply copy paste it, but I could not. So let's build this again. And now it has a problem with the seeds on 203. Oh, I thought there would be a lot more, but this isn't bad. So the as ref, I'm assuming that's because it should be more like this, because it's a method. Okay, 104, can't find pub key in this scope. That's interesting. Okay, what if I remove this and not define the type? Will you be mad at me? Oh, okay. So no warnings, but I'm not sure if that's gonna work, but the only way to find out is just to actually test it. So no warnings, that's a good sign. With that, that's all the functions inside our smart contract. The only time we'll come back here is if there's any errors. But again, let's update our smart contract by upgrading it. And let's see, I have 6.5. So hopefully that's enough. It is pretty big now. So it's deploying. And as it's deploying, there are the two things that we need to check now is are we able to create comments? Because that's what we added. And can we like the video? Deployment successful. So what's the process for upgrading your new upgraded smart contract onto your front end? If you remember, I go over here and let's export the new Program Idl. All right, so now it's IDL 5. Let's go ahead and let's go to this VS Code. Let's click on this. So hopefully it opens up to there. Let's see, I think I'm gonna have to open it up in my downloads. Okay, there it is, IDL 5, and boom, it's really small. So let's increase that size. Let's do an Alt-Z here. And now it looks hideous, but let's see if our new instructions are here. So there's I see create user, I see create video. Do we have create comment? Yes, we do. Do we have like video? Yes, we do. So this is our latest IDL. Let's Control C, right? And let's go click on TikTok clone JSON. This is our old IDL from our last program before we updated it, and it doesn't have create comment or like video. So we want to basically erase this and paste it. So now, because of the way we set it up in the beginning, it's going to be updated. No need to change any code on the front end. This is all we have to do. So that's pretty simple to update your program. And now all we need to do next is set up the front end for create comments and liking the video. So the first thing I want to tackle back into our front end is the sidebar. So let me just double check in main view. There we have sidebar. Where is the sidebar? Oh, it might be in video.js actually. Yep, we have a sidebar and a footer to carry. What we're gonna do is let's set it up. Okay, so just to quickly recap, in the video.js, we are passing so many things that we're gonna need for the video, and we're gonna need to pass some of that into sidebar as well. So for sidebar, let's pass in all those props that we need, which essentially is just address. We have shares on show comments and then show comments. All of these are coming from our use TikTok hook. If you remember, we set up all the functions of getting comments, of liking the video. We just didn't add that functionality to call it from our front end just yet. But for now, I'm just gonna set up the JSX of each component, then we can go back and do that. Sounds like a plan? Awesome, we're almost done, guys. So let's do a like video, and then we'll do index, and then we'll set that to index. The index that's in curly brackets, okay? And then let's do the likes address, which will be the same name, likes address. Okay, for messages, it's going to be comment, and bam, that's the sidebar. All right, while we're here, let's just set up the props for footer. I'm not gonna do anything on just yet, but I do wanna set up the props. Oh, and I just realized I think I might be pretty small. So for footer, we can have channel is equal to channel, which is just the creator name. Description is equal to description. And there's also something that we have song, and that's just gonna be index. If you did wanna pass in the actual song name, you'd have to save as well, okay? So that's it for the footer. We can also do comments, right, since we're here. For comments, there is something called on hide, where we can now hide comments. There it is. Put the index in here as well. You can put the address here, create comment, get comments, and a comment count, and that's gonna be it. Cool. So I'm passing props now, so when we go back, I don't have to add them all later. But the main focus right now is gonna be the sidebar. So with that said, if I go into the sidebar, do I not have a sidebar? That doesn't seem right. Oh yeah, I guess I never did make a sidebar component because they were commented out. Cool, so let's make those components. So I believe that was sidebar.js, okay? And there was also footer, since I commented that out as well, okay? I'm trying to think, what was footer again? Not too sure, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. This is side, and on video, we should be importing all those things. So import sidebar, cool, import, nice, okay. So shouldn't have any errors of like sidebar being undefined. Since we made this sidebar, let's also make the CSS file for it. So that's gonna be sidebar.module.css. Cool. And what else? Yeah, we could just set up the CSS for it. Like the skeleton is just gonna be sidebar and sidebar button. That's it for the skeleton for now. Let's go on to here and let's just take a look at our app. It's been a while. Let's see, enter password. I wanna see what Lance is, my Lance account, which is wallet number 1. And if we in a new wallet, we have to refresh because now I'm signed in as myself for sure because I'm in wallet number 1. And again, no sidebar is visible right now. Then let's get to work on that. So I guess the first thing we should do is sidebar module. Let's actually set up some things for the sidebar itself. If we do position absolute and top 50%, I just want to make sure it's visible, right? 10 pixels and color white. Okay, so let's just save that for now. We'll worry about sidebar button later. Okay, not visible yet, probably because we're going to need to put in the name of the div. So let's first import that. Import styles from sidebar.module.css. The class name is the style sidebar. I don't know why that's capital. Hey, there it is. That's in the right spot too. The sidebar should be just about there and then just drop down as well. Okay. Awesome. So let's make the rest of the things that we're going to need. And I can already tell you that there is the icons, right? What if I go back to here? Oops, I got too excited. There you go. And now I should be able to click my pen. I need to get these icons right here. And one way to get them is actually with Material UI once again. Okay, and I already have them picked out for you. You just need to write the same ones that I do. So going back to the code, we can do the split screen style. Okay. Oof. All right. That's a lot better. So let me get the React icons, and that's just going to be right here. So we have favorite icon, the message icon, and the share icon. Yeah. Okay. And then from here, there's some hooks that I want to use in sidebar. So let's do this, use effect and use state once again. And while we're importing, let's get use wallet. At this point, you guys should know where this is from. Adapter React. Cool. And we passed a couple things into sidebar. So let's destructure, and that is the following: address, likes, shares, messages, on, show, comments, like, video, index, likes, address. Cool. Now in terms of states, all right, we can also set that up here. I'm going to do a const use state, and const wallet is going to equal that hook. For the use state, the initial state is false, and the variable, or like the name of the state, will be liked and set, because if we like it, the heart should turn red. Yeah. And if it's not liked or not liked at all, it should be false. So there's no toggle liked button, just if it's liked or not. Cool. So remember how we passed in a like address? We actually want to loop through that and double check if we liked it or not. So again, I'm using use effect here to do just that. So if wallet.connected, which is why we imported wallet, if it's connected, let's actually loop through the address, likes address dot for each, and it's just gonna be an address here. Cool. Now, if as we're looping through the addresses, if the wallet.public key, right, .to base 58 to format it, is equal to address .to base 58. Essentially, if I'm looping through and I find that the user that's logged in is matched to one of the people that liked the video already, right, then we can set liked to true, because if it is true, then we should see the red heart. Cool, nice. So that's the if statement here. And I don't want this to run every time there's a change, right? Every time we're fetching or changing the state of something. We want this to run when the wallet changes or when the likes address changes, which makes sense to me. Cool, okay. So from there, let's just work on JSX. In that case, then we need to write the div with another class name. This one is styles.sidebar button. Okay, then like question mark. All right, ternary statement here. If it is true, then the favorite icon, right? Favorite icon, the font size needs to be large, and we're gonna have some inline styling here where the fill will be red. So that's how we make sure that something is liked. We're gonna color this icon red, and the stroke is also red. Okay, cool. Now, if set is false, which it is by default, right? What should happen is we have the favorite icon still. The difference is the font size is still large, but right, we're not going to add any styling because it doesn't have to be red or anything. It should be just clear as is, but we will add an on click, because if it's not liked, we should have the functionality of liking it. And if you remember, we have used TikTok and we passed that function here to like the video, and we pass in is liking the video. So that's why I put address here. Okay, because if you remember, it's kind of hard to see, but going down to our instructions, like video takes in an address, okay? Or rather yet, this like video is taking in the struct like video, and in the front end, we're gonna make a function that is like video, right? So in reality, what I actually mean to say is this like video is coming from this right here. Yeah, remember, it's the function to call like video from smart contract, and it takes in. Cool. So I hope that cleared it up. Just going back into the sidebar. Awesome. So we have all of that stuff. Oh, yeah, there's an extra parenthesis here. There you go. Then next to it, I want like the likes. It should show the number of likes. So that's why we have this right here. Then it should be closing div. And then in between these two, we'll have another div. This one will be styles.sidebar button. And here we can have an on click of show comments. So what that tells me is this is the button that we press to look at or just bring up that component. Is that how I spelled it? Let me just double check. Yeah, the suggestion confirms it. Let me just Alt Z this. Not gonna make it any better. Oops. Control minus. Cool. So I know that's a little small. I just needed to see just a little bit for now. Yeah, so this should go out here and we should close it off. Nice. So now I feel comfortable zooming back in for you guys. Awesome. So now we can just get the message icon that we imported, give it font size large to match with the heart. and we can give the messages here. Okay, so it's closing div, opening div, class name, and this is also styles that sidebar button. It's gonna have share, icon, font size large also, and it should show me the shares. Okay, and then closing div, sidebar. Boom. So let's save. It's been a while. Let's take a look. Oh, on show comment is not defined. So that's on show comments. Wait a second. Oh, comments. Cool. Let's refresh. Connect. Keep signing me out. Boom. Hey, there we go. That makes sense. Okay, for some reason we're not seeing the, oh no, the share icon is in there. Let's see. Cool. And the reason why it looks a little wonky is because the styling isn't all the way there and we don't have this stuff set up right here. I can X this guy out. Cool. But in that case, this is it for the sidebar. Okay, I did speak too soon because I did want to finish up the sidebar CSS because I believe I didn't finish that just yet. Awesome. So yeah, it looks like that. But if we have this sidebar here, let's change the padding to 20 pixels. There we go. And let's do a text align center. There we go. So that looks a lot better now. Of course, it is a little bit skinnier, but it might be fixed once we add in that footer. So now the sidebar is complete. One thing we can do while we're here is, it's been a while since we pushed. So let's go ahead and get status. Cool. So this is all the changes we made since the last time we pushed. It's a lot once again, but let's just open up our Netlify app again. So it's TikTok Solana, I think. I see it. Boom. Test 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom. And let's see. Did I not have an account with this guy? Oh, it's wallet 1. Okay. Oh, I know. It's because it's been a while since I uploaded this. All right. So we're going to use git add dot to add those changes. We can view those. All right. Git commit, add, create video, and more front end. All right. That's the best way I could describe that. So let's do git push, and Netlify will redeploy our live app for us once again. So let's go to Netlify, just watch it grow. Okay. And then we go to sites, TikTok Solana, and there it is, building. Awesome. So site is live. Let's go ahead and go back to this, and we should be able to click this link again. Hey, and it automatically logged me in because my wallet is connected and I already have an account. Look at that. It's just like our local host was. Cool. So now our live site is updated. So if your friends were to look at this link, they would see those changes. Awesome. So now that it's pushed, I think the next thing to do is let's set up that footer. So I'm just going to go in here, bring this guy down. Oh, and just to make sure we can see stuff now, Netlify dev. X this guy out, and since it's going to generate a new one, let's X this out. Cool. Let's do the footer. So with the footer, it has a little bit more stuff than the sidebar. So to get started, I'm thinking we should just get the CSS file out of the way. So if I do this, go to styles, new file, footer.module.css. Cool. And let's import that now. Import styles. Nice. Okay, so let's set up the skeleton so that we can just visualize me styling the footer a lot easier. Cool. So dot footer is the class that I want to set up. There's a dot footer text p dot footer record. There's also a div that I'm seeing footer icon and dot footer ticker. Oh, and this one's special. It's like ticker. Okay. There's also a container or a class called footer text, and I believe it's actually underscore. There is dot footer ticker h1, and there are some keyframes on here, right? Because looking at the finished product, you see the spinning record. To do that, we have some keyframes, or essentially just animations to spin that record. So to get started with keyframes, you just say add keyframes and press tab. There's like a little guide here with the identifier. For us, it's going to be spin the record. Cool. So then we can say from transform rotate 0 degrees to transform rotate 360, because that means it's going to just do a full rotation. And then once it reaches 0 again, back to 0, it's going to do it again. Okay. Awesome. So I will finish that, but that's going to be the skeleton of the footer CSS. Coming back to here. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and start coding what I need. So I will need the music note icon, which is that record. So I'll just paste that on here. No state at all, but we are gonna use an image here. So let's do import image from next image. And I'm sorry, that's not, music note icon isn't the spinning record. That's actually something else. Cool. We got the styles here. And now let's accept the props that footer passes down. And let me just remind myself what that, I think it was in video. Yes, so just 3 things: description, song, and channel. Okay, so destructuring this, let's get channel with 2 N's, description, and song. Okay, cool. Now when it comes to the JSX, Let's give this guy a beautiful name. I'm thinking we'll call her style.footer. Okay, and then within that, I'm gonna do a class name styles footer text. All right, we're basically using all the classes that I defined in the CSS. Okay, cool. So for H3, we can say at the channel name, which is essentially just the username, and underneath is the description. So for this video, we should see tutorial hell as a description if it's on there. Yep, now it's working. And underneath that p tag, we have a div, which I'll call styles.footer ticker. And here we'll use the music note. I can give that a class name of styles.footer, and we have a p tag, which just holds some spacing of and NBSP. And we're gonna do this 2 more times. And we'll have the song right here, which isn't really gonna show anything. So div, and then opening div. And for this style name, we'll have the .footer record. And remember, we have it set up so we can have an image. So let's use that image. And it's gonna have a source. I have the link for you guys, 1 second. It's gonna be this right here. The static.noun project, let me do Alt-T. Static.noun, the noun project.com/png, and then these numbers.png. So you can pause that, take the image, or you might be able to find it in the next config as well. And let's give it an alt vinyl record. So this is the spinny thing. So the width is gonna be 50, and the height will also be 50. Okay, export default footer. And that looks pretty good to me. Don't really see much because, let me refresh. Yeah, don't really see much. But maybe if I add styling, we can see it a lot better. All right, let's get to work. So for .footer, position, I'm gonna make relative, and color shall be white, okay? The bottom will be 150 pixels. Hey, oh, cool. Am I in wallet 2? Should be in wallet 1. Oh, I registered as Ernisha. Yeah, I'm wallet 1. I just totally forgot. Cool. So shout out my student Ernisha. So margin left, 40 pixels. Okay, then we'll do display flex. Awesome. Then we're gonna do a flex 1. Cool, so we're getting there. And it says 0 because that's the index. So for this class that I'm targeting, let's do a padding bottom. Let's make that 20 pixels. Okay, cool. That added some spacing. Now for the record, here is where we can include the animation. If I press tab, all the little parameters can help us right here. But we just need the name, which is spin the record, which will then get those keyframes. We want to say infinite because we're going to keep it going. The time it takes to make that rotation, 5 seconds, and let's play linear. Look at that. Look at it go. Just spinning around there. Let's put the height 50 pixels. Cool. So once we had the height, it made it spin in place now. The filter invert 1. Nice. Position absolute. Oh, it's okay. And we're gonna get it back to the right spot in a second. And let's do a right 20 pixels. There you go. Now it's aligned. I like that. So for the footer icon, I think it's position absolute. No, that's relative, but let's be absolute. Nice. So now for the ticker thing, let's have a height of fit content. Okay. And the margin left, 30 pixels. Okay. And a width of 60%. Cool. Just make sure that I have those classes. Footer ticker. Okay. Oh, okay. So it's just, yeah, I don't really have a dot ticker. Okay. That's why I didn't really do much, but I'm sure this will do something. I think I have footer text, right? Underscore. Oh, I don't have footer text. Oh yeah, I guess there's, instead of missing divs, there's divs I don't really need. It does look fine on its own. Okay, we can do this one. I have padding bottom here, but I forgot why I coded this up initially. Did that change it? No, not really. Okay, I might have removed this. So if I do dot footer ticker h1, let's do a padding dash top 7 pixels. Cool. Again, nothing. But other than that, this looks pretty good so far. Yep, I'm pretty happy with that. So there you go. That's the footer all said and done. Okay. So at this point, I'd say we have everything we need to get like video working. The only thing that we do have to do is go to the use TikTok hook and set it up. So use TikTok. All right, so remember this like video. Everything should be hooked up. We just need to add the functionality. So with like video, I want to add a console log here that's just going to say video liked. The video has been liked. Cool. So if we see that console log, that means just tells us the function has been running. What we're going to need to do is make const tx again and await program. We're using this from get program rpc dot the name of the instruction, which is like video. I'm getting this like video here from our Solana playground because that's the name of my function. Pretty sure, unless it's like underscore. Oh, it is like underscore video. It's a good catch. So like underscore video. Okay. Let's add a parenthesis here and curly brackets because this is going to take in accounts. Okay. And for the key of accounts, the video is going to be new public key address. And for the authority, we know how to get the authority. It's gonna from the front end, it's gonna be wallet.public key with the default accounts. Okay, cool. All right. I guess that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it for the like video. I guess we can just console log tx here so that we know it did go through. But because we set up the front end, we should see the red heart. So again, it always makes me nervous because now we're gonna see if our smart contract is working. So let's see if it works. First try. Of course, that like video is not a function. Okay, let's do like video. Let me just check that IDL. That's how I can confirm for sure. Let's see, create user. I see create vid, create comment. Oh, okay. It is like video. So it took out that underscore. That's okay. Awesome. So I'm just going crazy. Let's head back to that use TikTok hook. I think I pasted something. Boom. So let's save this. It's like video now. I'm just gonna hit refresh just to smoothen the deal. Let's do the whole process. Right, let's go to wallet, refresh. Right. Okay, that's good to know. TikToks.length on main view. So let's go to main view. It's a good thing we did this, guys. I don't want to print that. What I did want to do was this, TikToks.length. So let's try to refresh that again. Nice. Okay, so now Lance wants to upload a video. Let's go back to TikTok and just gonna take this one, copy video address, just to double check. Yep, that's really loud. And now let's go back to here. Cool. So to confirm, this 888 is the one that we made. If I do this, I forgot what the name of this. Starting out with blockchain, sure. Starting out with blockchain. Let's put the video URL in there. Create new. Whoop, whoop, whoop. We actually have the estimated SOL. Prove. Takes a second. Let's see if this refresh button works. So if I click this video, it's there, and there's me. There's my account that's there. So let's say I'm looking at our niches. Let's see if I can like the video. Oh, come on. No balance charges found. So that's interesting. If I hit approve, the TX console log. Oh, video liked and it console logged. Huh. I guess we can really tell once I refresh because it should set this to true. Let's go. We can like TikToks. Awesome. All right. If I click this again, I can't like it because I already did. All right. So that's awesome. So Lance gave a like to this TikTok. I could give a like to the next TikTok. Oh, what? Okay, that's interesting. This shouldn't be red as well. That is a problem. Okay, so it went away when I press refresh. If I click this, oh, okay, so I can like the video. For some reason, it also showed up there, but it fixed itself once I refreshed it a few times. Yeah, cool. So that makes sense. I like this video. I did not like this one, but I can. All right, if I switch to Arnisha, let's see, to wallet number 2. Let's see if that stays. Hey, look at that one. That was me. All right, number 1, but it's not red. So, but if I do like it, hit approve. It's gonna take a little bit. Hey, 2 likes. All right, we're going up. We're getting closer and closer to getting viral here. All right, so I got 2 likes now, and the like feature is working beautifully. So let me just log on to my account and refresh, so we can see it's 2, and it shows that I like, and this should still be 0. Awesome. So that looks pretty good to me. I think what I'll do next is let's create the comments model that comes up, right? Because if you look here, if I click on this little icon, there it is. There's the comments, and right, that's the component on itself. But once we finish that, guys, we're pretty much done with the project. So how exciting is that? We are almost done with the build. If you're looking at me and you've made it this far, you're crushing it right now. So let's set up the front end now. Okay, let's move on to our next component, right? It's gonna be the comments one, which we already set up. But we do need to set up the comments.module.css right now. Cool. So get rid of that. Let's get the skeleton out of the way. So we have our usual wrapper, a class called comments header, the close button. Let's see, what else do I have here? After the close button, we have some more keyframes for the wrapper, and actually call it wrapper. And on the keyframes, I'll just set it up now. It's gonna be 0%. At 0%, the opacity will be 0. And then we want to transform Y, make it move up. Nope, not translate. And let's make it go up 100%. And when it's 100%, I want the opacity to just be 1, visible, not visible. I always can mix up the 2. Transform, translate Y, make it go down. Okay, cool. So that's the keyframes for the wrapper. Okay, from here, let's do dot button, and we have a comment input wrapper. And then when we do this, I'm targeting all the inputs in the comment input wrapper, which should just be 1 in this case. And if I hit save, the skeleton is there. We go to comments, let's import that guy. Styles from styles, comments.module.css. Beautiful. Okay, awesome. So there are some states that we will use here. So let me just grab that real quick. Let's say use state, use effect. Okay, that should be it for now. And just refresh my memory. Oops. What are we passing into comments? Can you tell me, guys? Did you say it? We are passing, so a couple things. So let's just destructure those guys. So I believe it's address on hide. we have create comment, index, get comments, and comment count. Cool. And for our states on the menu today, we have const equals use state to set up our use state. And it's gonna be comments, right? So this state is gonna hold all our comments, and we're gonna have that set comments here too. So the idea is with use TikTok, we're going to get all the comments associated with that video. And with that same hook, we're going to set those comments into the state so we can put it into our front end. That's the idea. So the initial state will be empty array. Then we can say const new comment set new comment is equal to use state. Okay, awesome. Okay, cool. So next thing I want to do is let's make a function here that's actually going to get the comments. So getting comments. This will be an asynchronous function, and it's going to do let comments equals await get comments. We've done this something similar to this a little bit ago, and we'll get comment count as well. We're going to pass that in to get comments, because where is get comments coming from? As I was mentioning before, it should be from use TikTok. Get comments, right? Function to fetch the comments from the comment count in smart contract, which we set up. So that's what we're doing here on comments. Okay, then we're gonna do a comments.sort. All right, we're gonna sort all the comments so it always shows up in order. And we put in AB, and we're gonna set it so that B is the video time dot to number minus A dot video time to number as well. Yeah, that's about right. Then we're gonna do set comments to those sorted comments. Awesome. So we're basically fetching all the comments, and it might not come sorted when we get them. So we're gonna sort them to make sure, and then set it to that state. But again, this is just the function. When do we call this? That's where our use effect comes in. So let's call use effect again. And the key here is what is the function that you want to do? Getting comments. And when do you want to run it? Whenever the index changes, right? It's gonna be once when it loads, and then whenever the index gets updated. Cool. So there's another function here that's gonna be called reply clicked, also asynchronous. And this one's gonna await create comment, right? If you remember, create comment is also in use TikTok, and that one actually calls the create comment from the smart contract, okay? So it does take in some parameters like the address and the comment count. Wait, no, it doesn't. I lied. It does not take the address. Wait, it does take the comment. I was just looking at the wrong comment count. And it does take new comment. That's the only difference between the two functions. And then after that, set the new comment to clear, right? Because there's gonna be a little input field where you can write the comment. So that tells me we're gonna have it on change somewhere. That's what this state is for. Okay, so that's reply clicked. And this function should run when I click the reply button or the add comment button, whatever you want. Okay, so JSX time. Now we have class name styles.wrapper, and within that one we'll have another div called class name style.comments header. Okay, then we have a p tag called comment, right? And then just say how many comments. So we see like 3 comments, 4 comments. Right, then we'll have another p tag, and just to be curious, I wonder if this works already. Ah, okay, I see. Comments.sort. Oh, it's okay because we didn't fetch any comments, so this can't possibly. Okay, so it's not gonna work just yet. Let me just finish this out. After this, it will have a class name, which is style.close button. And yeah, this is part of the reason why it's not working, because there's gonna be on click on hide. Right, is there an on hide? Yes, there is. Okay, cool. Okay, and here there's gonna be and times. Let's close the p tag right here. That makes more sense. Okay, so then it should be closing div. And here, this is something interesting. Once we get that comments array, right? Let me see. Comments is, oh yeah, we're getting it from this. Once we get that comments array, we can say comments.map comment. All right, we're gonna map through each comment, and for every single comment in the array, I want to make a component called comment card. So you might be wondering, Lance, what is comment card? Comment card, John, is going to be this thing. Each individual thing right here is considered a comment card, and we're just making that component so that we can reuse it without making it over and over, right? Does that make sense? So what we're gonna do now, right, is make that comment card. So here, this is probably our last component, right? Give it up for our last component, guys. We're already here. So comment card.js, refce, boom, comment card. Cool. And since we're here, this guy is going to take some props, which is going to be the key, which will be, yeah, so every like prop or component needs a key. So let's do .index.toNumber. All right, so there's already an index associated with it. Let's just make that the key. So that's what I'm saying here. The username, so we can get the username in here, is gonna be equal to comment comment.commenter name. The only errors I can foresee is either I spelled something wrong or I forgot something. So let's take a look at that. Comment.text avatar. And if I had to put money on it, it's probably something to do with comment with all these M's. Comment.commenter URL, right, for the avatar. And then there's a timestamp, which is going to be comment video time dot to number. Yeah, and that's it for comment card. Cool. Closing parenthesis, and then all these guys. And then this is where we should have the comment input wrapper. Yeah, and I already know that when I was messing with this looks funny when there's no comments, but when there's more, it looks a lot nicer. Okay, this input is self-closing. The type will equal text. There's an on change on here, right? Remember I predicted that, well, not predicted, I knew, but based on the name that I was writing, you guys can probably infer that there's a set new comment here on change, and there's gonna need to be E. And how do we grab that input field? E.target.value. Again, you could use that for anything you need if you want to grab an input. So value is going to be equal to whatever new comment is, right? And placeholder, it's that nice little message that says leave a comment. Little CTA right there. And button class name, oops, gonna be style.button. Oops, daisy. Oh, okay. I hope that's a lot easier to see. You can take a moment to pause and see what I wrote so far. Okay, cool. So now we gotta on click to here because this is where the reply click will be called, right? That button, and we'll just have a little reply here. Cool. I know we don't have the get comments functionality yet. Cool. So to get this annoying error out of the way, we need to go into use TikTok and let's get create comment up. So let's X this out. And for create comment, this is what we'll do. We'll say let comment underscore PDA equal to await anchor.web3.capital public key.find program address parentheses, right? Inside those parentheses, again, you might have seen, this might be familiar to you. That's because it is the same kind of template that we're going to need. This time, instead of video, we're doing comment, and the new public key pass in address dot to buffer. Then we'll do a new bn count. Oh, I know what, comma here. New bn count dot to array like method, and let's pass in buffer. Yep, be8. Okay, cool. And just to add a comma, and I'll just put in the program ID as well. Program dot. Cool. So that is the argument of find program address. Then here, if user detail, which we should have, then we should set up a TX again and just await program.rpc.comment. Again, this isn't fetching comments. This is the ability to make one. So comma user detail dot user name comma user detail dot user profile. Is it profile image? Yeah, it is profile image URL because we want to get the user's name and their image, just as you can see here. Okay, boom. Is that it? Oh no, there's also an object that we need to pass in here, which is just the accounts like I done before. So video dot new pub key address. Comment will be comment underscore PDA. Authority will be wallet dot public key. Then we'll do that comma default accounts again, the spread operator, and just for formatting purposes, add some comma. And just to be super sure, it's console log tx, all right? Because that means if we can see this, that means we can see the basically the receipt or like the transaction hash that comes after it's done. So let me refresh. Cool. Awesome. Not only that, I can't really create comment till we also get all the comments. All right, so we need to complete this function as well. That's the reason why we were getting the error the first time. So to get comments, we're gonna need to make an empty array. So let's say comment signers equals empty array. And then let's make a for loop, a regular for loop. So it's just gonna be I is less than the count, which is then increment. Cool. And now what we can do is let comment signer, add some space between these guys. Oh, that explains a lot. Okay, set that equal to await anchor.web3.public key.program address, right? Same thing we pass in if you want the program address, which is going to be UTF-8 code, pass in comment again, new public key, pass in address, and then the buffer. We do the new bn, except this time we put dot to array and then put buffer with be and 8. Then we do program ID. Okay, then we do comment signers dot push. Oh, this one should be signers, and then you push the comment signer into there. Yep, that makes a lot more sense to me. But we're not done yet. That was just a for loop looping through all the comments and then adding that comment onto there. What we need to do next is const comments is equal to await program dot account dot comment account, or get all the comment account, and then we need to do a fetch multiple. Yep, that's a method to fetch multiple comment signers. Yes, that's why we set it up before. And over here we can console log the comments to see the ones that we're getting, and then we need to return comments. So if we return comments, that's an array that we can sort, so that's why we wouldn't see that error from here anymore. So let's hit send, and now moment of truth, refresh. If I click comments, what's going on here? Invalid class name. What do you mean class name? It should show me where this was. I'm gonna say it's at comments. It's the only thing I could think of. Nope. Yeah, I'm gonna say it's at comments because it only happened when I clicked it. Let's check out class name. Class lowercase name. Oh, I see it. Yeah, right there. Good catch. So let's refresh this again. Make him big. Okay, nothing still. Come on. All right, so if it's nothing, that means we need to look at the sidebar again. That's why you can't see it, guys. That's because we didn't do the styling for it. So let's do the styling for it right now. So let's do the comments. So if I remember it correctly, text align will be center. The background will be hashtag FFF. All right, so I wonder if that would actually show it already. No? Okay, I got too excited. Width will be 100%. The height will be 60% of the page, and let's give it a padding of 20 pixels. Okay, position will be absolute. Okay, let me just see something. No? Okay. And then we can add border top, that's not done, left radius, which will be 20 pixels, and the border top right radius will be also 20 pixels, because again, what we're styling here is this guy. So look how it's supposed to be round over here. We're gonna do bottom 0, and we're gonna do left 0. Oh, it's there, it exists. And if I click this X, hey, awesome. I was going crazy. I was like, I thought I did this already, but apparently I didn't. So the animation is going to be comment 0.2. That's like actually a standard 0.2 ease in. It's like easy on the eyes. That's how I remember it. Cool. Now moving on to the comments header. Pull this up. We're going to do a display flex, which will set it to a row. Then we can do justify content, space align item center, and let's give it some more padding over here. 0 and 20 pixels. So top left 0, right top 0, 20 pixels. Believe margin top will be 20 or minus 20. Yeah, and let's just see. Is that right? We just add the rest of this, then we can figure it out. Let's do a font size to REM, cursor pointer. This might be because there's 4 comments, but let me just see something with no. No, it should be more like that. I think the margin top is too much. Maybe like 10. That feels pretty good to me. Cool. So then we have the close button, just like right there. It's so small compared to that one. Okay. But then we have the button itself right here, which we can give a background of hashtag 4E. So 4CE. Hey, okay, cool. That's the button. Padding. I'll just give you a 0.6 REM and 1 REM. Border radius 0.6. Then a color of FFF. There we go. Also cursor pointer, a transition. Let's give it that transition of 0.2 seconds linear. Let's do max width of 5.5 REM. All right, from there, let's do an align items center, justify content, a display flex. Probably should have done that first. Then we can do font weight. Let's give it 600 and font size. Oops, font dash size 0.8, and of course border. Okay, looks a lot better. So let's fix up that comment input. Oh wait, I don't need to write that. I already wrote it. That's the whole point. So this one has display flex. I'll put that first this time. And a justify content center and align item center. Let's give it a gap of 10 pixels. Right, we're back on track. It's back on the right place. A margin top of 11 REM. Awesome. Like I said, the comment's gonna be in a weird spot, but once we add more, it's gonna look a lot cleaner. Padding 10 pixels. Okay, cool. So from here, the border will be none. The outline will be none. The width will be 100%. Yay. Okay, cool. Looks a lot. I feel a lot better about that one. All right, 100%. And the font size, it's gonna be 1 REM. Cool. All right, so now that we have all the front end, we don't really need this as much. Now I can just go boop and boop. And once I have more comments populate, this will get pushed down to where it's supposed to go. Awesome. So let's just refresh this for sanity and let's run through the process. Let's see if we can create a comment. So moment of truth, once again, let's comment out with this one. And let's say this not tutorial help. All right, let's hit reply. Yes, okay, cool. It doesn't say transaction may fail, like I said. It's actually computing how much Solo would take. That's a good sign. I'll hit approve. No errors, okay. I'm going to exit out, just let it chill for a bit, and we just wait till the comment finally loads. Yep. No, comment card is not defined. And that's an easy fix though. Can't all be perfect. Let's import comment card here. Comment card, save, refresh. Okay, let's click. Yes! Okay, it's working, right? Like, it looks funny because it just says comment card, but that's just because there's only one comment, and if there is a comment because of the map, it's just gonna load this div. So the next step is let's finish out the comment card. Man, I just don't understand how happy I am that our smart contract is working just fine. I hope you guys are just excited as I am. So like I was saying, we only have to do is just the comment card. So I'm gonna set that up right now. So first order of business, let's make the comment card style. Comment card.module.css. And now that's done, I can set up the skeleton of this. Okay, so again, you guys know the drill by now. Let's set up the skeleton. The wrapper, text container div. Whoops, there you go. Text container. I think I want an avatar. We'll have a username class as well. There'll be like a reply bit, and there's a comment text. There's a timestamp, and last but not least, there's a button. Cool. Now in comment card, let's import styles from, can you believe this is our last component, guys? So who's with me? You're almost done. Let's do styles / comment card.module.css. Amazing. So let's finish this out strong. So what I want to do, set up all my imports. Import image from next image. I want to import heart outlined, and we have an assets folder, if you didn't know, that you got from the CLI tool. That comes with all the images, so no more making their builds along with me and you're like, Lance, where did you get those assets from? All right, the CLI tool will take care of all of your problems. Okay, assets / heart outlined SVG. And it's a package that's installed. We're gonna get time ago. All right, that's how we're gonna get the timestamp on the front end side. Okay, let's also import en from that JavaScript time ago / locale / en.json. We're gonna need that one. Okay, and we can do time ago dot add default locale, pass in en, and we can make a variable here called time ago, which will equal new time ago, en us. It's gonna constantly update when that comment was posted on the front end. And again, I just need to double check what I got from the comments card, which again is actually from comments. Key, username, comment, avatar, timestamp. So let's destructure stuff. Username, timestamp, avatar, and comment. Nice. Okay. And in the return here, clean this up and let's plug in all the names. So this is where our parent div goes, and it's usually the wrapper. And within that wrapper, we'll have a div with no name. And inside that div, we'll host our image. Oops. And we can actually define the width here, 34, height of 34. Okay, this is where we give it that class name of style avatar. Styles.avatar, avatar. And the source will equal avatar, and even the will equal the username. So that kind of makes sense, yeah. So closing div, then opening div. With the opening div, we're just gonna do a style.text container, which has a nameless div. And here it's gonna contain that user, like the actual username and the photo itself. So style.username. All right, so this contains our picture, and this contains our username and the comment itself. Okay, that's what it is. After those two divs, hit enter here. It's at a span, and the span will show us how long ago was that comment that I just made. Okay, so that's going to be new date time stamp times 1,000. All right, this is how you format it. And then say, let me see, Twitter. Oh yeah, it is Twitter now or dash now. Yeah. Okay. And then we close the span, which it already is. Then it's closing div and open the div. So now it goes closing div, and now this makes more sense. If I do a class name, style.button here, and let's put a div in between that, which will also hold the image of that outline. Like, we can't like these replies, but on TikTok, you should see a little heart next to the comment where you can like it. But if you did want to add that functionality, you can, now that you know how to add instructions in your smart contract. So this one, I'll give a width of 24 and a height of 24 as well. Unexpected, I guess it lost the closing div that it was supposed to have. Oh, I see, another one of these. All right, I'll take a look at that in a second. Let me just finish this out. Yep. Oh yeah, there's no source, that's why. Could be the reason. Outlined. There you go. There's my profile picture, Lance. This is not tutorial. That was my comment, but now it's fully loaded. It just looks really ugly because I didn't add any styling yet. So that's the image, closing div, and closing div. Yep. That looks good. All right, last step, guys. Let's add some CSS. So for the final CSS that we need to add, we're gonna start with the wrapper, which is just gonna be display flex. And we're gonna add some padding, 20 pixels, add some padding right, 10 pixels, add some padding bottom, 0, and padding top. There could have been an easier way to do this, but I already committed. Okay, so then font size is gonna be 0.9 rem. Text container is gonna be text align left, because I want all these comments to shift to the left. There you go. We can also add a margin left while we're here of 10 pixels. Boom, add some spacing there. And of course a display flex. Yes. Okay, then justify content, space between, and align item center. Move that hard over. And a width of 100%. Let's see if it takes up that space. There we go. Look at that, and it's 14 minutes ago. That's pretty accurate. Let's do border radius for the avatar. Let's make it 50%. Cool. It wouldn't be that much noticeable. But we also want to do an object fit cover. Yeah. Okay, next is username. I don't know why that's all in caps. Wait, did I just add a username? I don't want to do that. Cool, and then for username, let's add opacity of 0.5. Yes. Okay, and there's a little reply bit here that says cursor pointer, which I believe, now that I'm thinking about it, I think I'm missing it. Go back to comment card. Is the reply bit here? Reply bit. I guess I don't have that anymore, so I guess I can comment that out. And then there's comment text. This one will have margin of 4 pixels and 0. Just shifts it down. Font size of 1 rem. Yes. And let's style that timestamp a little bit. Let's give it an opacity of 0.5. And the button will have an opacity of 0.3. Cool. And there it is. There's our beautiful comment. With that said, I think that's it, guys. We have the TikTok build, right? So let's just run through all the functionality one last time. All right, and you know what? Before we even do that, before I get too excited, let's do this on our live link. It's only fitting. So if we go to get status, let's see all the changes. Yep, all the comment stuff. Get add, get commit -m, right? Add the rest of the front end basically. And then we can do get push. Let's visit Netlify, see how he's doing. Or just write Netlify, TikTok Solana. And because we pushed, it's automatically building once again. Now we wait. Oh, okay, that's a good sign. There's failed to come to resolve heart outline. That's why it's good to watch our deploys, because now I know exactly where it failed. And that's because this guy right here. I'm surprised it even got the heart outline, even though it wasn't spelled the same. But, oh yeah, since that was a change, we can actually trigger a redeploy by just adding that. Fixed import for heart outline and get push. Yes, sir. And then we go back to here, and now you see it failed. And now it's building. Okay, cool. So let's just track it one more time. Fingers crossed. Okay. Site is live. Okay, cool. So it's up and running. Let's click deploys. Let's click TikTok Solana and let's connect our Phantom wallet. Awesome. So again, I'm logged in as Lance because I'm in wallet 1. But what if, let's select the random wallet. Let's pick wallet 4. All right, let's run through the process, right? This is it. We built this together. It's been a long day building with you guys, but I hope you're happy with this app. Let's celebrate by walking through what it can do. So here it is. This is demo, but I hope you guys are demoing with me. So log into TikTok, select the wallet. We're using Phantom, of course, to connect, and let's create a user. All right, this one, I'll call it Alex. And we have Alex right here. Oh, wow, this is Alex. I like his hair. This is his profile image, and we'll click sign up. Click approve, give it a second. We can even refresh in a bit. Boom, we're in our app. I'm logged in as Alex, and you can see the TikToks that we've uploaded previously. And just to make sure, I can give this one, okay, let's hit approve. Give it a chance to communicate with the blockchain. Hey, you saw that? It changed. 1 like, right? Provided by Alex. We can add a comment and say, this is amazing. All right, we'll hit reply. Again, all of these are being stored on the Solana network, right? Even my comments will hit. Of course, on a large scale, that is a lot of storage that we're gonna be taking up if we put our comments here. Remember, the main purpose of this build is to show you something that's familiar on Web 2 and help you learn about concepts about Web 3. This time it's on Solana chain, which means we're using Anchor, Rust, and all the other technologies that you learned. Solana Playground is in the beta stages right now, and I showed you guys how to use it. So again, shout outs to a developer called Akron. He is one of the developers behind this playground, and he helped me a lot understand Rust code and Anchor, and even helped me fix some bugs on here. So super cool dude. The people behind the Solana Playground are amazing. I left a comment. Let's see if I refresh it. See one? Hey, look, it's Alex. He says, this is amazing. I'm so happy with that. Let's go. And now for the finale, right? Let's add a video on TikTok. So let's do a throwback here all the way. Let's do this. Advice for aspiring JavaScript developers. I feel like that's fitting. Let's copy that link. How do we create a new video? You click this guy right here. Advice for aspiring developers. I'll shorten it. Okay, and let's paste it here. Let's hit create new. Let's hit approve, right? Give it a couple seconds. And there it is. A TikTok uploaded by Alex himself, the new user that we logged in. This is amazing. Congratulations on making it this far on the build, right? We did so much. This site is even live. You can copy this link and send it to your mom and she can see it and log in and make a TikTok. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I highly encourage you guys to play with the code, add some more functions on the smart contract because I showed you how to do that and upgrade it. I also want you guys to be on the lookout for our future videos. And if you haven't, go watch our Amazon video that isn't on the Solana chain, but we use other cool technologies on that as well. It's been a pleasure. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.